Hello and welcome to the Tributes Community Center in Oshawa. I'm Dalton Finkbeiner with Ian Duffy here for the second ever 3HL event. Ian, last time we were on the air was New Year's Day at the Mattamy Athletic Center. The Milton Flyers took that one home. What was your takeaways from the first ever 3HL event?
Well, there's a few things, actually. I think it was a feeling out process, like you said. You know, it was the first day, it was the first event. We definitely learned a lot over the course of the day. The first thing for me was all the teams in their first game, at the very least, maybe the first 10 minutes or so of each game, they were feeling it out. It was 3-on-3 hockey is an adjustment for everyone. I think at that point, you know, guys have maybe only played it, you know, in summer hockey or maybe in a bit of overtime throughout their careers. But going for a full game where it's not sudden death, it's a completely different situation, and these guys found that out as the day went on. I think one of the things teams started to learn was that you can take calculated chances in 3-on-3 hockey. One of the biggest things was guys starting to, take chances on defense. We'll take a chance, we'll play some 3-on-2 hockey in our own end for a little bit. We'll leave someone hanging at the far blue line, and we'll take our chance to try and get those breakaways. So that was one of the things that they did. One of the other things I think we saw was, you and me both kind of thought the goalies were just at the mercy of these players. But as the game went on, it was the goalies that were actually the story in most of the games. Some goalies absolutely dominated and stole games. So I think that was something that maybe we'll continue to see here today.
Yeah, no, the Milton Flyers were the team that figured it out the best. They took home the first ever tournament win. But let's take a look now at the guys warming up behind us. The Toronto Bees and the Kitchener Lions are in the first matchup. Two teams that had very different tournaments. The Toronto Bees, one of the favorites on paper, disappointingly went out in the first round, getting beat 9-2. Kitchener Lions, on the other hand, almost made the finals in overtime. From those two teams, what did you see?
Well, Kitchener kind of had a bit of a high-scoring game. But the biggest thing for me with Kitchener was Matt Camilleri, though.
Yeah.
He was a guy that absolutely dominated, currently playing for the Guelph Griffins, I believe, but a guy that really came out and made some highlight saves. Really all you have to do to talk about that is look at our top 10 highlights from that first week, and he was in there a couple times. He was a guy that was great. On the other side, the Toronto Bees, David Blair giving up 9 goals in the first game, but I wouldn't say it's 9 goals that go on David Blair. I think it was a team defensive effort that obviously needs to improve, and this is a team that's going to come out today, I think, with a bit of a chip on their shoulder.
Let's take a look now at that Toronto Bees roster. As I said, one of the most talented teams on paper. Brandon Turner's the captain, and they have a lot of guys on this team with a lot of great hockey accolades, one of them being Rob Quitt.
Oh, absolutely. Rob Quitt's the guy that automatically kind of jumps out at you as far as resumes on this team. And I think he's a guy that, with his experience with the Windsor Spitfires, he's a guy that's played in Memorial Cups, a guy that's finished ahead of a guy like Adam Henrique in scoring as a defenseman. So a guy that's obviously got some pedigree, some experience to his name. Jordan Reed's another guy I look at.
And he was one of the best players for them in the tournament. He had those 2 absolute slap shot goals.
Yeah.
So maybe looking for those guys to kind of step up for this Bees team.
Yeah, I think Jordan Reed's another guy that, now you've kind of set the baseline for yourself. I think he's a guy that's got to continue to try and provide offense. They need a collective team effort. I think strategically, they have a chip on their shoulder, like I said, and the players have said it. I think it's something that they want to come out and kind of prove a point that, they don't want to kind of be a doormat in this league. And you know what? There's always the money, and that's, I think, what it ultimately comes down to. Those guys want to put a little bit of change in their pockets. Jordan Reed's a guy, I think, that can do that for them. He showed in the first weekend that he's not afraid to shoot the puck from anywhere. He'll let it fly, even fighting off some defenders, still getting it to go. So I think he's a guy that's for sure got to kind of catapult this team, and they've made a couple changes to their roster. So I think they're a team that's ripe to maybe try and, at least, I think for them, their first goal has to be even just getting competitive today.
Let's run through the Toronto Bees lineup. We got Adam Place, who played Division III hockey at Potsdam, very decorated career as well. We mentioned Rob Quitt, the Memorial Cup champion. Kelly Jackson, a new guy coming. He played at Queen's University last. Anthony Bergevin.
One thing I'll say about that is a guy like that who's put up pretty good numbers at Queen's. I don't know how many people have gotten out to see CIS hockey, but it is a good brand of hockey. I don't know how many people, you kind of might see, it's just Canadian University hockey and maybe brush off the number of points that he has or guys' numbers, whether it be him or anyone else. It is quality hockey, so to put up numbers in that league is no joke.
Yeah, Kelly Jackson with Queens, 87 points in 103 career games.
Yeah.
Anthony Bergevin, he played for U of T as well, and he also had a stint with St. John's in the QMJHL. Eric Wiseman played for the Ajax Attack in the OJHL. Brandon Turner, the captain, Trinity Pauling Prep in Connecticut. Jordan Reed, we mentioned him. former Curry College player. He was the best player for the Bees in their first tournament. And in goal, David Blair had a rough outing the first time, but we expect him to turn around this time.
Yeah, this is a team where most of the makeup, with the exception of Quit, who has obviously the OHL pedigree, the Memorial Cup experience, all that, the kind of the baseline for this team, I would say, is OJHL experience, a bit of CIS experience. But these guys, you know, they put up numbers in all those leagues. I think the difference is, you know, you've got to come out and try to make that translate, because it is a different game with all this time and space and the 3-on-3 hockey. We talked about a guy like Jordan Reed who's letting all those slap shots fly. One of the reasons for that was because in that first weekend at the Mattamy, defenses were just kind of collapsing in on their own net, not necessarily stepping out to the shooters, which is something that guys aren't used to. You can even tell a couple guys, they kind of froze or hesitated a little bit because they're just simply not used to having all that time and space in the offensive zone. So some guys just decided, hey, I'm just going to let it rip. And Jordan Reed was one of those guys. I think these guys need to make that adjustment from junior A hockey to this 3-on-3 brand.
And the other team in the first matchup is the Kitchener Lions, one of the teams we underestimated coming into this one. And they showed up big in the first tournament. One of the stars for them was Tyler Ryan. He had 7 points in that New Year's Day Classic. Let's run through their roster quickly. Mitchell Cook, they are led by captain Matt Crane. Brian Gent played in the Southern Pro Hockey League. Matt Beaton, newcomer Ryan Ellis, who played with Oswego in the NCAA Division 3.
So not the Nashville Predators.
Not the Nashville Predators defenseman for you viewers at home.
Just to clarify.
Tyler Ryan, who we mentioned, was the star for this team in the first game. Shane Gore and Mac Camilleri in net. Ian, from this Kitchener team, we look at Tyler Ryan. What did you see from him in that first tournament?
Well, I think one of the biggest things for him was they were able to really get the breakaway pass going. This was a team that really capitalized on those opportunities. They used their speed, and they kind of did it all kinds of different ways. They were coming in, shooting, deking, everything was getting to go for them. So this is a team that I think kind of did a pretty good job, at least offensively, of adjusting to this format, using all that space, you know, taking advantage of when other teams take chances. If guys get caught cheating in, you know, if you see a guy wind up, maybe start sneaking out of the zone a little bit. So I think that's something that this team did a good job of adjusting to, and it showed in their performance.
Now, Ian, we're going to have to make some predictions here. Who do you got in this first game?
It's a tough one. You know, I liked what Kitchener did, and I really like Matt Camilleri, but I think I like the Toronto Bees just because of that chip on their shoulder. I think this is a team that, as we talked about, they do have talent. They certainly have talent. So I think this is a team that's going to come out hungry right off the get-go. And this week now, we're looking at a bit of a shorter format.
Yep.
So the game's 2 7-minute periods as opposed to the straight 20. So I think that's something that if you come out with that jump right away, if you come out and kind of build a bit of a lead, I think it's going to be, you know, it's easier said than done in 3-on-3 to hold a lead. But I think if you get out, it's going to be tough for other teams to come back because like we talked about on the preview show this week, if you start taking chances one way, you have to open things up, and it leaves you susceptible on the back end. Yeah. So I think if the other team, if the Bees can capitalize on that and jump out to an early lead, I think they put themselves in good position.
Yeah, no, I think that you're totally right. I think the new format, though, with the 7-minute periods and that break, it's going to make the players a lot fresher. Because we did see at some of the time that fatigue did play a factor, especially in some of the later games. So I think that a lot of teams are going to benefit from that. Looking at this matchup, I really liked what Kitchener did last time. I thought they came in a little under the radar and definitely surprised a lot of teams. They're not going to surprise anyone this time. So I might go with them over the Bees. But as you said, the Bees are a hungry team, and they were one of the teams that were most disappointed. Yeah,
and if you can come out with that sense of urgency, and I think if you're Kitchener, if you can try to find a bit more of a balance, because they came out, they had the offensive output. That wasn't really an issue for them. And they had some great goaltending. If they can give a little bit more support on the back end, I think they will be able to have some success. I think one of the things, and even talking to some of the players, is we talked about the 3-on-3, and you talked about how that break, that little intermission is going to help these teams. I think it's going to make a drastic difference because talking to the players, they said, you know, it kind of applies to every sport. You know, you can train and you can do everything that you want to do to try and prepare yourself and get in shape. But there's no a better way to get in shape than by playing the games. And I think some of the players found that out the hard way, that basically double shifting every game, no matter who you are. And then you come out and you've got all this ice to cover. It was difficult for some guys, and I think they started to realize that as the day went on. So I think that break will be a huge difference for some of these teams.
If you had to pick one player from each team to sort of focus on as a key to the victory for each team, which guys would it be?
For Toronto, for me, I think it's probably going to be I want to say Jordan Reed, but I think he's a guy that kind of proved last week that he can get it done. I think if you're looking for a guy that maybe needs to step up, maybe Rob Quitt. I think he's the guy that is the big name on this team that comes into it. Talked about, his ability to play on great OHL teams, Memorial Cup teams down there in Windsor, and outscore guys like Adam Henrique, who now play for the New Jersey Devils. I think he's a guy that you definitely have high expectations for. On the other side, I think it's another toss-up for me. It's got to be Camilleri or Tyler Ryan. I think Camilleri did his job about as well as he could last week, and it still wasn't good enough in some sense, just because of the defense in front of him. I think overall their team needs to step up, but Tyler Ryan, you need that offensive performance to keep up. Definitely
one of the most intriguing first-round matchups with the team like the Bees, who had such a disappointment in the first round, and then Kitchener, who went deep. They have now expectations. Going back to that first tournament, a lot of as we talked about the goalies, I don't know if people realize how much of a role these goalies play, especially with playing the puck. That was one thing that surprised both of us.
Absolutely, and even David Blair was a guy that came out, and he was very active playing the puck, and so were some of these other goalies. And even one of the things in that game where they lost to London was, David Blair tried to spring a guy on a nice long outlet pass. He kind of fanned on it. It turned out to be a breakaway and ended up in the back of his net. And that was a bit of a turning point. So I think right idea, the execution's got to be there. But I don't think you can let something like that make you shy away. I think you've got to keep doing it, keep trying to spring the offense. Because in this league, like you just said, if the goalies can play the puck, they can be a part of the offense. We saw it throughout that day. So I think that's something that, another thing for me in this first game is we saw it in the very first event. I'm not sure if it will be the same, but the very first game of the day in a format like this is always very interesting. Because you don't necessarily know what to expect. Once everyone kind of settles in watching that first game, I think it's a little different. Guys start to remember. And then, like we talked about, it's still, I think, going to be a bit of an adjustment for some of these guys to get over their natural tendencies, like playing around the blue line. So we'll see how that goes as the day.
No, definitely the first game last time we saw that teams were a little bit hesitant, although it was the first game in the history of the 3HL. You could see teams feeling each other out. This time around, I expect a little bit more open play, but as you said, first game of the day is a little nerve-wracking for everyone, so it might be a bit of a feeling out process as well. Now on the ice is the Guelph Brewers taking on the Milton Flyers. This is the marquee matchup of the first round. We got the champs from the first New Year's Day Classic, the Milton Flyers, taking on maybe the best team on paper, the Guelph Brewers. These teams did meet in the semifinals, with the Milton Flyers pulling off what we felt was a bit of an upset. Looking at this matchup, Ian, what are you going to be looking for?
Well, I think this is the heavyweight fight. This is what you come to see at an event like this. And the Milton Flyers, a team that flew under the radar all the first week, because of just how solid they are top to bottom. I think their consistency was great. It didn't drop off shift to shift. They were a team that was able to get scoring from multiple guys. Jesse Messier was a guy that maybe kind of catapulted them a little bit. But on the other side, this is a Guelph team that was basically shut down by Milton in the semifinals. So I think this is something that Guelph's going to have a bit of a chip. I mean, you don't want to overuse that saying, but I think they definitely come out looking for a bit of revenge in this game, because you could almost look at it as they took money right out of their pocket. So this is a game that I think Guelph's going to come out, and Guelph has the firepower. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You look just down the roster, they've all got it. Whether it be multiple guys that were captains of OHL teams, guys that put up numbers, guys that played in the AHL, guys that played in the NHL. Obviously, Theo Peckham kind of heading up that list. But in this format, he's not necessarily their top gun, despite his amount of games played with the Edmonton Oilers. So I think you look at a guy, the Chappells of the world, the Kennedys of the world on this team, I think those are the guys that are going to catapult this team. And even a guy like Brett Mackey, who played for the Belleville Bulls, is a guy that in this format, it suits him very well, because he's a fast guy, maybe a bit smaller, but he's a guy that has the skills to, I think, really contribute out here.
Let's run through that Guelph Brewers roster. First off, the big addition, Brett McLean. Played for the Phoenix Coyotes and Winnipeg. 5 points in 18 career games. Also a decorated OHL player with the Oshawa Generals. And
right here,
the Erie Otters.
He scored a lot of goals in this arena.
A homecoming of sorts for him, so he'll be one guy to watch. Brett Mackey, also a big career with the Belleville Bulls and the Brampton Battalion. also played in Waterloo in the CIS. Matt Kennedy, 5th-round pick of the Carolina Hurricanes. He was the star for this team last week. He scored a hat-trick in their opening game. Also a very decorated OHL career with the Guelph Storm and the Barrie Colts. Chris Chappell, another OHL guy, played for the Saginaw Spirit. Theo Peckham, former Edmonton Oiler. And finally, Anthony Tapper as well. Miles McLean and Alex Dupuis in net, who played for Lindsay of the OHL. So running through that roster, you can see the number of decorated junior and pro players this team has.
And I think you'd kind of be remiss if you didn't say how excited you were to watch Brett McLean play out here.
Yeah.
He's a guy that, really came out and kind of, I think, almost headlines this league in a sense. I think he's a guy that you want to come out and watch him play, because right here where we're standing in this building, he's a guy that's put up a ton of points. If I'm not mistaken, multiple 100-point seasons playing for the Oshawa Generals. So he's a guy that can no doubt light the lamp, and I think could be that extra spark for them, because they were held to just 1 goal in that semifinal game.
Which was a shock to both of us.
Yeah, so, and that was give credit to Milton in that sense, but I think this is a team that wants to come out and kind of, you don't want to make them the villains of the league, but they're the guys that definitely have the target on their back because of the amount of experience and the levels that these guys have played at. So I think they're a team that just kind of naturally has that target on their back. I think there's a bit of pressure on them, and they can't come out and afford to have a bit of a slow start, because this is a team that's already proven that they can beat them.
Yeah, and then we're looking at their opponents today. The Milton Flyers. We'll run through their roster quickly. They were the winners of the first ever 3HL tournament. They're definitely sort of the guys, maybe before if they weren't on the radar, they definitely are now.
Yeah.
Tristan Fairbarn, he played at RIT. Kevin Willard, Mississippi, played for Mississippi in the Southern Pro League.
Yep.
Carson Devine, decorated OJHL career, 145 points. Jesse Messier, who was the MVP, played for York in the CIS, putting up over 130 points in 135 games. Pat Peretta played for Markham in the OJHL, over 100 points in his junior A career.
Even Pat Peretta, a guy like that who, played in the OJHL, maybe doesn't necessarily have the same pedigree, I guess is the word, that some of these other guys have. He was a guy that in this format really stuck out to me last week. He looked very good. He knew how to kind of find the holes on the ice, find the spots, sneak in behind the defense. He was a guy that fit in perfectly to me.
Yeah, no, he was very fantastic. Continuing through the roster, Daniel Spivak, he was a member of Israel's national team. Jordan Forfar, who played for, had a decorated OJHL career as well, 99 points in 147 games. And they have a new goalie today, which will be a, with no Dave Davenport, it'll be interesting to see how their new goalie adjusts. Putting you on the spot, you got to make a pick in this heavyweight bout. Who do you got?
Standing. And Daryl Rotham, who had the Dominic Hasek tribute in the first week, now has a new mask, but still an old school throwback bucket, also outstanding. So that's what catches my eye right out of the gates. But to the players, I think this is an Oshawa 88s team that came out last week, and they're kind of a young team. I think probably the youngest team in this league, in fact. And they're a group that kind of came out running and gunning a little bit, you might want to say. I think they were kind of, they weren't loosey-goosey, because I wouldn't describe it that way, but they definitely weren't afraid to take chances, and they were trying to stretch the ice, hit stretch passes, try to create some breakaways. They showed some nice finishes around the net. I think they just got to tighten it up on the back end. I think that run and gun style kind of caught up to them a little bit. They can tighten it up on the back end a little bit. Steve definitely showed they had a high-scoring game. I think they showed they could pick up now at that Oshawa lineup. Stephen Scholing, who played in the GMHL for Toronto. Mitch Scott, the captain, who played for Collingwood in the OJHL. Taylor Fielding, who's a former Brock guy. Ian, you'll like that. And, always got love for the Brock boys.
Yeah, in goal we have Mike McDonald, who played for Orangeville and also played for Lake Forest College in Division III NCAA. As you mentioned, Markham was also a team who got exited in the first round, but they were up on the eventual champs of Milton Flyers. Is there a little bit to take away from that, knowing that they had the team that won it on the ropes?
Absolutely. I think they know that they had the champions. They really did have them.
Yep.
You know, I think that game working on that part. Yeah. But I think that's something that it's definitely good motivation for all these guys. You come out, who doesn't want money? Yeah. And you get it right away for playing hockey and winning some games. So I think that's something that these guys definitely want. And I think, you know, we talk about this Oshawa team. They pick up Todd Hosmer, who was playing in the SP as of just last week. Yep. So he's a guy that's still got the fresh off pro experience, should be in pretty good shape coming into this. Personally, I know Todd more as a lacrosse player. He's also really good lacrosse player, has a pretty decorated career on that side as well. But this is a team that for sure has some talent, and I think if they tighten it up, because that's what we talked about, every team in this has talent. I think there's no doubt about that, because you look at every roster, guys have put up points everywhere they've been, basically. A lot of them have put up some serious PIMs, too, so I wouldn't hate seeing some of that out here today. But it's just adjusting to the format. I think that's the biggest difference, because we even saw in that Oshawa game, they put up the points, they just couldn't keep it out of their net. So I think it's the adjustment to the format, learning when to take your chances. I think, like I said, you got to take calculated risks. I don't think you want to be just chasing guys all over the ice. You got to learn, you know, when to take your gambles, because it's not just like in 5-on-5 hockey where, you know, you take a gamble, oh, well, we'll play 5-on-4. If I try to chip a puck and go and it doesn't get there and the D holds it in, we'll just play 5-on-4. And this, it's probably a 2-on-1. So it's immediately a good scoring chance. So you got to kind of play it a little bit smarter if you're Oshawa.
And the guy that caught our eye immediately, he was in the first game, was Daryl Rothman. Not only with the look, but he was electric for almost 3/4 of that game. He almost stole the show. He had an amazing glove save right off the bat.
And Daryl was one of them, and maybe we're not necessarily giving him the credit for keeping Markham and having Milton down, because Milton was certainly getting their chances. He was just kind of keeping them at bay with some outrageous saves, stacking the pads, you name it. He was doing it all, flying around the ice, drawing penalties. So he's a guy that I think is certainly a player to watch in this game. Now, with that being said, that kind of wild style, if you want to call it that, can kind of blow up in your face if it's not kind of under control. And it's the same thing as what I said with the players. It's got to be calculated risks.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just charging out of the net all over the place just for the sake of it. You got to know when you go for the puck, one, you can't hesitate.
Yep.
And two, you got to be about 90% sure you're going to get there first. Give yourself a chance, and he's a guy that for sure can spark their offense.
Let's take a look now at that Markham Millionaires roster. Nate Donaldson, number 17, is the captain. Jesse Wilmot, number 7. David LeBlanc, who played in the GOHL, 191 points in 185 games. Santino Di Florio, who played for Shelburne in the WOAA. Blake Lavelle, who played for Brampton in the OJAHL. Andrew Bonello, who is one of the stars for me for the Markham Millionaires, played for Robert Morris in NCAA, and then he went to play for a couple years in France professionally. 28 points in 35 games there. Ryan Halebich, who played in the GOMHL, and then in goal, Daryl Rothen. Markham and Oshawa, two teams very eager to move on to the next round. Who you got in this one?
Well, both teams without a win, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to let the Daryl Rothen bias sway my decision, but you know what? I think I'm going to change my pick from what I went with in the previous show. I think I'm going to go with the Oshawa 88s. I'm looking out here. I'm seeing some guys with backwards hats during warm-up. You know, this is the hometown group. These guys just look loose. They look like they're ready to play. A confident bunch. I'm sure they're going to have some family and friends out here today watching. I think this was a team that, like Markham, was right on the cusp of advancing. I think I take them to go on to the next round.
Yeah, both these teams very eager to get on to the next round. And finally, in our last matchup, guys who are just about to come onto the ice, we have the London Threes, the finalists from the New Year's Day Classic, taking on another team who's looking for their first win, the Newmarket Saints. I picked the Newmarket Saints in the preview show to go on. I know they were bounced in the first round, but we saw them give the Guelph Brewers a hard time.
Yeah, this was a team that I think a couple teams showed it.
Yeah.
Maybe the exception of the Toronto Bees, I guess. Most of the teams that were bounced in the first round showed some jump. They showed that they could compete. Newmarket's just a team for me that, because of how many of their players played for Newmarket in the OJHL, how many of those guys have played together, and then being led by Chris McKinnon, who's a guy that has an outrageously good OHL career with Kitchener. Played for a couple other teams, played for Sault Ste. Marie as well, but basically went shot for shot with a guy like Jeff Skinner, who in the season Jeff Skinner scored 50 goals. McKinnon was tied with him in points. So this is a guy that can definitely skate with the best of them. He's a guy that can score. We saw him, like Jordan Reed, was not afraid to let the slap shot go when he gained the zone. A smaller guy, but that shot definitely packs some punch. This is a Newmarket team that I think, especially the first weekend, and we're still early in the season here with this only being the second weekend, that continuity they have from playing junior together, some of them, I think really helps them gel right out of the gates.
Yep.
So I think that's one of the reasons I like this team. But London has no shortage of talent on their side either, and we saw that in the first week. A guy like Patty Morgan came in, and he made things happen. He's back out here.
Chris McKinnon, as we mentioned, who had a decorated OHL career with Sault Ste. Marie, the Owentown Attack, London Knights, and the Kitchener Rangers. Adam Davies, who played at Adrian College, also played for Newmarket in the OJHL. PJ Buys, another Newmarket Hurricane, 33 points in 80 games, played for Trinity Western in the CIS. Matt Whitehead, another Newmarket OJHL guy, 75 points.
Should have just called this team the Hurricanes.
I know. Also played for Kalamazoo in the ECHL. Kevin Jarman, he played for Syracuse in the American Hockey League, at Stouffville in his junior A days. Stephen Johnston played for Belleville and Windsor, 114 points in 200 OHL games. Also had a very decorated career at St. Mary's out east. And Jimmy Sargent, Mercyhurst guy. Goaltending so big, Jimmy Sargent being one of the better goalies in the league is a big advantage for the Saints.
Yeah, Jimmy Sargent, and you just read off the roster for that team. When you go through and hear the backgrounds of all those guys, even regardless of all of them having, or some of them having played together with the Newmarket Hurricanes, what about that team would lead you to believe that they're not going to be able to compete?
Yeah.
They have so much talent, so much experience. This is a group that I think for sure can come out here and compete with anybody. So I think for them, you even talk about, you don't want to rag on too much about Chris McKinnon, but it's a guy that, you talk about that Kitchener Rangers team with Jeff Skinner and all that stuff. He was right up there in points with about 90 points, I think. You don't put up numbers like that by accident in a level like that. And this is a guy that, other names on that team, guys like Ryan Murphy, Gabe Landeskog, all those guys playing in the NHL right now had less points than Chris McKinnon. So this is a guy that can come out here and definitely be a game changer. He's our X factor, I think, for this Newmarket team.
For sure. And now looking over at the finalists from the New Year's Day Classic, the London Threes. A lot of new blood, but they showed a ton in their first game. They're one of the most impressive teams throughout the tournament. Running through their roster right now, Zach Lorentz, a newcomer. He's played for Kitchener, Peterborough, Windsor, and Plymouth in the OHL, 128 points. Nathan Ansell, who played for Rio Grande Valley in the Central Hockey League. Jordan and Jason Skinner. Jordan Skinner played for Milton in the OJHL. Jason Skinner played for London in the WOHL. Patty Morgan, as we mentioned, one of the stars of the New Year's Day Classic.
Yeah.
He played for Lindsay in his OHL career. Lucas Balesha, who was the top play in our top 10 plays from the weekend, his goal. He played for Plattsburgh in Division III NCAA. He was fantastic. Spencer McCormick, who scored the OT winner to send his team to the finals. He played for Laurier in the CIS. And finally, in net, Rich Wigmore, who again was one of the better goalies in this tournament. Looking at these two teams, who do you think has the advantage?
Right now, I think Newmarket has the advantage purely based on continuity.
Yep.
I think talent-wise, both these teams are very gifted. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Obviously, for London, Wigmore was great in the first weekend. I think that now he's set the bar high for himself. I think we're expecting that every week now for him to be flashed in that leather. And then you talk about Patty Morgan, another guy that right away came in. This London Threes team, they just understood the 3-on-3 right out of the gate. I think that was something that obviously jumped out to them. They really hammered Toronto in that first game, and then it was kind of all gravy from there. So this was a team that, although they came up short in the big game, I think a lot of that had to do with them only having 6 skaters and one of them getting hurt, being down to 5 skaters for most of the championship game, which I know the games to you at home may only seem like, you're only playing 3 20-minute games. How tired can you be? But when you're double shifting and got to cover a full OHL ice surface, it's not easy. So I think this is a team that just simply got gassed. I think we expected them to win that game.
Yeah.
I think both of us expected. We counted out Milton about 1 million times, and they laughed in our face every time. But I think London's a team that for sure comes over and definitely has some high expectations.
I think the Newmarket Saints also, as we mentioned, they do have high expectations because they played the Guelph Brewers, who were our favorites in that tournament. Very tight. They were up 3-1 in that game, and the Brewers actually had to mount a pretty impressive comeback to get the victory. So I think they're kind of the, not dark horse, but pick of us, because we saw so much from them. And again, not to harp on it, but Chris McKinnon was one of the best players in that tournament, even though he only played 1 game. Love to see more of him go on.
I think I would lean, obviously, towards picking Newmarket in this game. I picked them to win the whole thing. But with that being said, a guy like Luke Baleshta was another guy that came out right away and just fit perfectly in this format, had a big impact. But at the same time, I don't think you can underestimate a guy like Zach Lorentz, who comes out here. I believe in his last year in Plymouth had about 55 points in 60 or so games. He's a guy that obviously has a lot of talent, had a long OHL career. So there's definitely some talent on this London team. I just think with the turnover from the first week, it's going to be how quickly can they mesh. And they're going to have a good challenge out of the gates.
No, the first round is set up with some great first-round matchups. I think now that we know a lot more about these teams, having seen them play on New Year's Day, we can kind of get a better feel for how these matchups are, how exciting these matchups really are. And as you mentioned, it's an interesting wrinkle now that there's a 14-minute game with 2 7-minute halves and a break in between. Also, a couple rules updates. If you're tuning in for the first time, there's no offside, no icing. Most faceoffs are done pretty quickly. If the goalie covers it, it's to the closest dot, kind of ready when you are. And once a team scores, the ref's driving that puck right back to center and dropping it again, keep the play moving. So very exciting version of hockey. Looking at the tournament as a whole, who is your team that you think is going to take it all?
I think I had it set up so that it was a Newmarket Guelph final, did I not?
I think so.
I think it was something like that. But I think Newmarket is for sure poised to be a contender today. I think Guelph's a major roadblock for them, but I think those are my top 2 teams to watch today. But I think this Newmarket team, although they were bounced game 1 in the first weekend, I think they're my favorite to get it done. And we talked about it. You know, they have the continuity, they have the high-end scoring, they have the goaltending. I don't see any reason why this team can't win today.
No, I think that, as you said, they're one of the teams that once we saw them in their first round game, we kind of expected a lot more from them, and I think we're going to get that today. I think I like the Saints as well. I think Chris McKinnon may be one of the top players.
Now, we might have jinxed them.
Yeah, we were wrong in our picks last week. We
So.
didn't pick Milton in any game, and they beat us. Milton's probably going to win it again.
Today we go for redemption.
Yeah, we go for redemption today. Hopefully we get it done. It's going to be an exciting day here. A couple players to watch from your perspective.
Well, to me, it's got to be Chris McKinnon.
Yep.
I think Zach Lorenz in this game. Jordan Reed's a guy that I think you have to have high hopes for with the Toronto Bees. Rob Quitt. I'm trying to think going through all the different teams here. Daryl Rotham's a guy that the thing about that Markham team is because it was the very first game, it feels like so long ago that we actually watched them play. You know, I feel like this is a team that we don't fully know yet.
Yeah.
I think we still have a lot to learn about them today, but I think Daryl Rotham's a guy that you're for sure going to watch as the day goes on. I think the goalies on every team certainly have the ability to steal games, but I think for me, it's got to be Brett McLean is the ultimate guy to watch. He's the guy with probably the biggest pedigree. The NHL swagger comes into this game playing in a barn where he scored so many points throughout his OHL career. Like we talked about, not a complete homecoming, but a homecoming of sorts for him. A guy that's making a bit of a comeback to professional hockey because he had to ultimately step away because of a heart condition. So this is a guy that it's a great story all around, and he certainly has the talent to go with it.
I think Brett McLean is for sure the guy to watch, and especially because he's going to have a lot more jump maybe than some of the other guys because this is his first experience in the 3HL. I think another thing I'm looking for, I'm sure you are as well, is to see how open the play is because we talked a lot last time about there was a feeling out process. Now that teams are more comfortable, do you think we're going to see a little more run and gun?
I think we will. I think maybe the first couple shifts of each game will still be a little feeling out, but I think once it gets going, I think it's really going to get going, especially because you can't take too much time like we saw in the first week. Yeah, I think because we saw that in the first game because it was just one straight through game. I think we saw that, you know, maybe guys felt like they could kind of ease their way in. But now when you got an intermission coming 7 minutes in, you can't afford to kind of take your time and go into it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an exciting game.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting, and I think that, you know, we're going to see how the 3HL...
I think we'll see more goals today. I do think that, though. Yeah, I think we will see more goals today, though, as we are here at the Tribute Community Center in Oshawa for the second weekend of the 3HL Tour.
Hi, I'm Matt Nickel from BioSteel Sports Nutrition. Here to talk to you a little bit today about proper nutrition and proper training for hockey players in the off-season. So everybody knows that it's important for hockey players trained to be fast, to be explosive, to have great endurance, to have great strength. It's also extremely important that they stay on top of their nutrition and have proper nutritional habits. Our BioSteel HPSM is the healthiest, safest, and most effective sports drink on the market. It's a great way for professional athletes and pros alike to stay healthy, to stay hydrated while they're training, while they're competing through a long, hard workday. It maintains energy levels in a healthy and effective way, maintains focus and attention during a stressful period of time, whether that's during practice or at work, and also make sure that we stay healthy as we're training.
Hi, we're here at Their Opportunity. We're here with Randy Gill, President and Founder. The 3HL is pleased to have partnered with Their Opportunity and to support their great cause. Randy, tell us a little bit about what their opportunity does.
Well, thank you for partnering with us, Justin. We're super excited to partner with the 3HL, the players, the fans, to give children in your community opportunity to play sports and recreation programs. Their opportunity exists to provide low-income families with support for their recreation fees to enroll their children in sports and recreation programs. But what makes us unique, and we're really proud of this, it's our Give Back program, where within 3 months of receiving sponsorship from their opportunity, children in our program must do some type of community service as a way of paying it forward. Thanks again, 3HL fans and players and the community, for supporting their opportunity and helping us to enroll over 2,000 kids in program. And look for the orange in your neighborhood.
Bought a new pontoon. Roll out now, we hit the lake by noon. You bring the drinks, I crank the tunes. Get some hot sun. Jeep full of girls couldn't get no hotter. Flag them down, we holler, won't you follow? There's a party floating on the water. It's going down right now. Come on, jump on the booze cruise, summer groove. I wanna see your booty move. Looks like you need another, so let me mix you up a redneck margarita. You know, the one just straight tequila. All aboard, now we're cutting loose. Come on, jump on the booze cruise. We don't need no bait, no line, because we're just catching us a buzz. I surround with some of that good stuff. Till dawn, it's on. Joe got drunk and fell in the lake. Ray passed out, but make no mistake. Any minute now he'll wake and bake. Burn it up, turn it up. Come on, jump on the booze cruise, summer groove. I wanna see your booty move. Looks like you need another, so let me mix you up a redneck margarita. You know, the one just straight tequila. All on board, now we're cutting loose. Come on, jump on the booze cruise. Ram-a-lam, whoa, Black Betty, Ram-a-lam, Black Betty had a child. Ram-a-lam, a damn thing gone blind. Ram-a-lam, I said a word not of mine. Ram-a-lam, a damn thing gone blind. Ram-a-lam, say, whoa, Black Betty, Ram-a-lam, whoa, Black Betty, Ram-a-lam. Oh no, honey, I'm good. I can have another, but I probably shouldn't. I got somebody at home, and if I stay, I might not leave alone. Oh, no, honey, I'm good. I can have another, but I probably should not. I got somebody at home, and if I stay, I might not. I got a headline Lisa with a Jaeger bomb. She done lost her mind, she done lost her top. Walk around looking for one flip-flop. Goodness, she's a hot mess. And Joe got drunk and fell in the lake. Ray passed out, but make no mistake. Any minute now he'll wake and bake. Come on, jump on the booze cruise. What kind of liquor makes y'all touchy move? Y'all let me mix you up a redneck margarita. You know the one just straight tequila. Good Lord. Come on, jump on the booze cruise, summer groove. I wanna see your booty move. Looks like you need another, so let me mix you up a redneck margarita. You know the one just straight tequila. All aboard, now we're cutting loose. Come on, jump on the booze cruise. My big truck, gonna open up the doors and turn it up. I'm gonna stomp my boots in the Georgia mud. I'm gonna watch you make me fall in love. Now get up on the hood of my daddy's tractor, up on a toolbox, don't matter, down on the tailgate. Girl, I can't wait to watch you do your thing. Shake it for the young bucks sitting in a honky-tonk, and for the rednecks who rock it till they break it down. DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shake it for the birds, shake it for the bees. For the catfish stepping down deep in the creek. Now for the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shake it to the moon, shake it for me, girl. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Somebody sweet little farmer's child. She got it in her blood, done get a little wild. Ponytail and a pretty smile. She wrote me in from a country mile. And coming over here, get in my arms, spin me around this big old barn, tangle me up like grandma's yawn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll shake it for the young bucks sitting in a honky-tonk, and for the rednecks who rock it till them break it down. DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shake it for the birds, shake it for the bees. Catfish simmering down deep in the creek. Now for the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shake it to the moon, shake it for me, girl. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. On the wind, on the hill, underneath the pines, yeah, move like the river flows. Feel the kick drum down deep in your toes. All I wanna do is get to holding you and get to showing you and get to knowing you and get to loving you before the night is through. You know what to do. Now shake it for the young bucks sitting in a honky-tonk, and for the rednecks who rock it till they break it down. DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shake it for the birds, shake it for the bees. Catfish simmering down deep in the creek. Now for the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shake it to the moon, shake it for me, girl. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Yeah, country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Yeah, well, shake it for me.
Davies now with it. Davies passes across. McKinnon buys
Nice
with
shot.
the goal. Nice play there by the Newmarket Saints. And more wide open than the first two. It seems that, as you said, Ian, these guys watching the first two games get a feel for the style of play. And there, the 88's first goal.
And this is a pretty move by Melanson. Comes in, kind of gets the fake, makes the goalie think he's going.
Was batted in another one there, Reed. A veteran in the OJHL. He had 179 points. Stevens now with a beautiful dish across. What a play there by Stevens. Played in the OHL. Boyle back with it now.
Oh,
and
nice
what
save.
a save from to keep his team in it. Scholing Rob there. Here they go, Salt and Stevens. Oh, what a move there. It almost works out. Stevens. Peckham with it. Peckham looking for a high stick, not going to get one. And Jarman's going to go the other way for the Saints. Nice save there. Theo Peckham not happy after he felt he was high stick, but now he gets a breakaway. See if he can make good on it. Ooh. Peckham with a beautiful move. The former Edmonton Oiler showing off some finesse.
Those hands are not just for punching people in the face.
It's a London zone. Wigmore trying to catch. They want to change, and Salt just at a bad angle to the side of that. Morgan gets it, and what a no goal! No goal. Davenport equaling Wigmore with a highlight reel save of his own.
Anything you can do, I can do better mentality.
And Messier wires one home. What action here. Big save on one end. And the Flyers go the other and make the threes pay.
This is an absolute cannon.
Fairbarn in. 3-on-1 for the Flyers. What a save by Daryl Rotham.
Unorthodox helmet, unorthodox style.
Yeah, what
I love
a
it.
glove save, flashing the leather there. Scheich angled by Ward, now a 2-on-0. And what a stop there from Camilleri.
Pre-game right now, it looks like goals are going to be at a premium in this one.
Spivak can't beat Wigmore. Oh, what a glove save for Wigmore. Devine can't believe it. What a stop by the London Threes goaltender. Robs Devine. And that got the crowd going.
And that's a potential game saver right there.
That's the play of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
Point blank in here. Let's see if Devine can get it back. He's with Willer. And Wigmore again gets across. We talked about him, the role he had to play with this tired London Threes team, and he's doing it right now. Boleshta now in alone. Boleshta, and he scores a beauty. What a play by Lucas Boleshta.
Charity partners. Gotta love the sandals. Sandals in the winter. Our next partner is, we'll do Rob Weir from Prostate Cancer Canada. So again, one of our charity partners. So a large portion of proceeds from each and every 3HL event goes back to support our local and national charities. Next, we'll stick with charities. We have, who do we have? We have Randy Gill. Randy Gill is actually wearing the gear with Michaela English, one of the Their Opportunity recipients. Their Opportunity is an organization based here in Oshawa that supports local sports or youth in local sports by funding them and giving them the ability to participate. So Randy Gill. Randy Gill is here in the Oshawa 88's uniform. He warmed up today. Next, we've got one of our partners, BioSteel. So BioSteel is one of our supporters, sponsors. We've got Jesse Steptoe. Come on out, Jesse. Watch your step. And then we've also got a representative, Brett, from the barn here in Oshawa. So Brett's going to come on out. Brett, who are you there? And then also a big shout out to the Mobility Shop, which is a large supporter of the 3HL as well. And they unfortunately couldn't make it. Okay, so we're going to introduce the teams. So first up, we've got the first game is Kitchener and Toronto. So can the captains come out? We've got the captain of Toronto. Are you announcing this, Jim? We've got Brandon Turner. We've got Matt Crane from Kitchener Lions. We've got Nathan Donaldson from the Markham Millionaires. Tristan Fairbairn from the Milton Flyers. What's up, buddy? And then we've got Brett McLean with the Guelph Brewers. Hometown hero, former Oshawa General, Brett McLean. We've got, instead of Rich Wigmore, we've got McCormick. And then our last but not least, your hometown team, the Oshawa 88s, we've got Captain Mitch Scott. All right, boys, you want to line up for the face-off? Any photos? Photos? So, line up 4 aside. All right, look up to the, you want to look back to the cameras? All right, let's go. Throw it in. Woo! All right, is everyone ready for some action? Everyone excited? Let's go, let's go, let's go. And oh, I forgot to mention the band, Chris Barclay. Thanks to the band for coming out today. And obviously our live stream on YouTube. Thanks to you guys as well. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the owner of the 3HL, Mr. Justin Fox.
And welcome back to the Tributes Community Center. We are back on the air. Dalton Finkbeiner here with Ian Duffy for the second ever 3HL Tour event. First up in the first game of the afternoon, we have the Kitchener Lions taking on the Toronto Bees. Ian, we talked about this in the preview show earlier in the week and the pregame show. Two teams who had very different tournaments. We had the Bees go out in, they were the team that probably had the worst performance, getting outscored 9-2, but they are poised for a bounce-back tournament with one of the most talented rosters in the 3HL. And we have the Kitchener Lions, who were one step away from the finals, looking to get back there. Let's tee this one up for the fans.
Well, I think both teams have already, started to maybe tinker with their rosters a little bit. And I think that's probably going to be happening all season long. Teams are just going to keep trying to upgrade and upgrade and upgrade their talent. But I think for me, this is a Toronto team that, Kitchener was right on the verge of going on not last week. It feels like it was last week, but it was actually New Year's Day. But this Toronto team, on the other hand, kind of got the doors blown off them a little bit. So I think this is a team that's come out and they made some adjustments to their roster. I think they'll come out hungry today because, quite frankly, the guys were embarrassed.
Yep.
I think they definitely were embarrassed a little bit, so they come out with a little bit more motivated today. I think they'll tighten things up because, you talk about the goaltender, David Blair, who played at York University, but this is a guy that, you give up 9 goals in 3-on-3. I think we thought that would be closer to the average, actually, but it turned out to not be. It turned out to be, I guess, a bit of the outlier in the first weekend. But it wasn't on David Blair. I'm sure he had a couple he would like back. But overall, I think it was the team defense. That London team just kind of ate them alive in the sense that they just had so many odd man opportunities where it was just tap-in after tap-in. And I felt like London just kept getting such easy opportunities that you can't, even though it's 3-on-3, you can't hang your goalie out to dry like that. I think you have to come out with a little bit more pride in the defensive end, and you start from there. Because obviously there's the talent on this team to score. So I think as things get going, I think they will find the ability to score.
No, and one guy to watch definitely for the Toronto Bees was Jordan Reed. He was their most impressive player in the pre-tournament and was certainly their most impressive in the tournament as well.
As well throw it to Chris Barkley for the anthem.
Native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Is Chris Barkley. He's band played before, and he just sang the national anthem. Sorry, thank you, Chris, for the music today. We are ready for puck drop here at the Tributes Community Center. The first game of the 3HL Tour Oshawa Classic. The Kitchener Lions taking on the Toronto Bees. As we mentioned, the Bees bounced early in the first round. Kitchener made a deep run, eager to get back to that. We'll see which team comes out on top. Dalton Finkbeiner here with Ian Duffy. We are excited to be here. Excited to watch some more 3HL Tour hockey. First puck drop is coming there. You can see the roster for the Toronto Bees, led by Captain Brandon Turner. And Ian, you mentioned he was one of the guys who was most disappointed in his team's performance on Twitter. He apologized. They're ready to bounce back, and they have one of the most talented rosters in the 3HL. So here we go. Eric Wiseman and Tyler Ryan riding up for the draw, and the draw is controlled by the Kitchener Lions.
Well, I think, Dalton, right away, I think the biggest thing to watch for is, we even talked about this in the pregame, what were these guys going to come out?
And we got our first penalty of the day early on. Last time it took about till the third game to get a penalty. The way penalties work, it's a penalty shot with chasers. So we are going to see the Kitchener Lions get an early penalty shot, and it looks like Tyler Ryan will take it. Tyler Ryan was exceptional.
The breakaway specialist.
Breakaway specialist. He was exceptional in the first tournament. Here he goes. Ryan with a guy on him, and he scores! Tyler Ryan early on, picking up where he left off on New Year's Day, getting the Kitchener Lions on the board.
And I think right away, you saw the Bees come out and lay 2 big hits. I think that was just them trying to, engage themselves in the game right away because they struggled so much in that first game.
Jordan Reed sends it in front. In net for the Kitchener Lions is Michael Platten. We'll see what he has today. And here he goes again, Tyler Ryan in the offensive zone. Wires one just wide, and the Bees control it. With the puck, Jordan Reed, decorated career at Curry College. He was one of the slap shot specialists last time. Both his goals came via the slap shot. Adam Place tries to play it down low. Deflected there by Brian Gent. And Platten early on looks sharp on that shot from Rob Quitt. And here come the Lions on a partial 2-on-1. Beaten, wires one. Blair with the nice stuff, and he covers it up. Reset for the Bees.
Well, I think it's good for David Blair to get in the game early, make a couple saves. He's done that so far. The only goal he's given up was that penalty shot. But I think that's big for him to try to get some confidence early on.
Anthony Burgeon controls it. He circles. Burgeon stops. Tries to sneak one through. Can't get it. Shane Gore gets it out. Bit of a collision there with Brandon Turner. Mitchell Cook has it. Turner closes, and he tries to get Ryan. Brandon Turner, you can see the fire from him early on. Kelly Jackson, number 2, with it in the corner. Bees control it. Burgeon on the half boards.
That's one thing, too, we didn't really get a chance to talk about was in that first weekend, there actually was a lot of big hits, which is something that I don't think we necessarily expected because of how obviously wide open the ice is in 3-on-3, but there still was guys throwing their body around.
4 minutes to go here in the first half. 2 7-minute halves. The Kitchener Lions early with a 1-0 lead, and here we go. Breakaway for Mitchell Cook with Reed coming in. Cook tries to just chip it over, and Reed collides with David Blair. Nice back check there from Jordan Reed. David Blair looks to be okay. You know, we've seen early on, Ian, the Kitchener Lions get a few opportunities on some miscues by the Bees.
Yeah, I think even that hustle play there by Jordan Reed is just an indication of this team is trying to make a better commitment to defense, and I think that's something that's a prime example of it right there.
Rob Quitt drops it for Eric Wiseman. Wiseman over to Reed, who has the only 2 goals for the Bees so far. Wiseman. Reed now with it in the corner. Tyler Ryan just fires it all the way down the ice. No icing in the 3HL, so he's able to get off for a change.
You can even see Toronto trying to make a better effort in the offensive zone. Every time they start to cycle, someone always has to fill in high and be the trailer, just because you can't afford to give up a turnover down low and have no one back, even though it's a tough adjustment with only having 3 guys on the ice.
Brandon Turner getting into it with Shane Gore a bit. He's definitely fired up. Off the post there from the Bees, and Turner runs at Gore, turns the puck over. Nice play. And there's a goal from Kelly Jackson. Nice play by Brandon Turner to force the turnover with the body. And the Bees get their first goal of the Oshawa Classic, and their first goal not from Jordan Reed.
Yeah, and Brandon Turner's still doing some talking out there. I think as a captain, you know, like we talked about, he's trying to take a personal responsibility to kind of get these guys fired up and play with a bit of an edge out there.
And you mentioned he was one of the guys who was most disappointed with their performance on New Year's Day. Doesn't look like it's going to be the same this time around. Bees looking very poised early on. 1:45 to go here in the first half. 1-1 Lions and Bees. Tyler Ryan, the goal scorer, wires one. Blair couldn't catch that.
Even David Blair's a local guy here, so I think he's probably got some family and friends out here in the crowd, so you have a little bit of nerves from him.
There we see the slap shot again. Beaton throws it. Eric Wiseman controls. Wiseman with Burgeon. And there's a goal from Wiseman. The Bees with a 2-1 lead. Nice finish there on the 2-on-1.
You know, we talked about the Newmarket team too much, how many guys on their team have played for the Hurricanes in the OJHL. This Toronto Bees team has a lot of guys that have played for the Ajax Attack over the years, so there is some familiarity on this team as well.
Bees definitely having a better time. This time Wiseman walks in. There's to Jordan Reed. Reed passes it over. Can't finish it off is Burgeon. Lions trying to catch them sleeping. 30 seconds left here in the first half. Block there from Gent. Burgeon in the corner trying to find Reed. Reed looking for Quitt. He has Rob Quitt. Rob Quitt goes just missing that top right corner. And here goes Quitt again. Trying to get some offense going here. Kelly Jackson. Jackson over to Quitt. And Quitt scores! With the clock running down in the first half, Rob Quitt able to give the Bees a 3-1 lead. That does it for the first half. Bees up 3-1. Ian, what did you see from the first half from these two teams?
Well, I think the Bees right away, you know, they're the team that came out with the chip on their shoulder. They're the team that was embarrassed at the Mattamy Athletic Center in week 1. So this is a group that obviously came out with some jump. They got some big saves from David Blair, a guy that was looking to bounce back after a rough performance in Toronto. And we talked about it, how the resume of Rob Quitt, this is a guy that on that last play there before the goal, he just misses the top corner, eventually gets the puck back, goes 5-hole for the goal. This guy has a lot of offensive prowess. We talked about on those Windsor Memorial Cup teams and around the 2009, 2010, around there. He was a part of those teams, and he, as a defenseman, put up a lot of points on those teams. So he's a guy that, although he's a defenseman in his natural habitat, I guess, I don't think he's a guy that's shy of the offensive end.
Kelly Jackson here trying to find, and there's a goal from Adam Place. The Bees clicking on all cylinders after going down 1-0. They have scored 4 unanswered goals here.
Well, now it's the Bees. How we talked about against London. They were giving up way too many tap-in goals. Now in this game, we saw the Jordan Reed slap shots in week 1. Now it's the Bees that are getting the tap-in goals.
Some credit here to Captain Brandon Turner. He has brought a physical element to the back end, and there's a penalty here, so the Bees got the goalie off for the extra attacker, and they got a little 4-on-3 power play, trying to get it to Jordan Reed in the center. Rob Quitt fires it just wide. Place controls it. Place back to Turner. Across to Rob Quitt. Rob Quitt to Jordan Reed, and he scores! Beautiful play there from the Bees. Tic-tac-toe, 5-1 Toronto.
And you can tell Mike Platten's kind of getting a rude welcoming to the 3HL. He still hasn't let in a bad goal by any means. I mean, they're down 5-1, but it has nothing to do with him. He's just kind of finding out that if your team doesn't help you out in this, the scoring chances are absolutely prime.
And definitely a very motivated Bees team.
Yep.
On New Year's Day, didn't have their best performance. Were bounced in the first round 9-2. Big bounce back here, though, with a 5-1 lead here in the second half.
And you can already see them making the adjustments, having the guy hanging down here,
Yep.
even with a 5-1 lead. Nice save.
And nice save there from Wiseman, looking for it. Kitchener controls it. Nice save there from David Blair. Looked like Wiseman went over to say something to him. Now we have a 2-on-1. Jackson to Rob Quitt, and Rob Quitt tries to pull it there. Nice play there by Patton to keep it a 4-goal game. Kitchener definitely going to need to find some goals here quickly. Time running out in the second half. Rob Quitt now controls it. Quitt to Place. Place is going to have to 2-on-1. Platten makes the stop. Quitt keeps it in. Quitt over to Jackson. Jackson wires it down low. Place gets there. Turner over to Jackson. Jackson in Place, 2-on-1. Adam Place has it. Waits, can't get it to go. Controls it still. Back to Turner. To Place. Place waits. He holds it. Trying to find Jackson down low. Jackson tries to bank it in off Patton. No goals there, but some great clock killing from the Toronto Bees, chewing up a lot of time there in the offensive zone.
Well, one of the things I think this week, besides obviously the up-tempo plays, the Bees just seem, and maybe it's some of the changes to the roster, but I think it's overall just their mentality. Their comfort level is higher. You just see them being a lot more patient with the puck. There's no panic. You know, we talked about a guy like Kelly Jackson who put up some serious points while playing for the Queens Gales. 87 points in 103 games. So this is a guy that, you know, can bring that to this offense, and you're just seeing no panic from the Bees right now.
David Blair also looking very sharp in the net. He's out to play. He trips, though. Gets bailed out there by Burgeon. And he plays it back to Wiseman. To Burgeon. Reed tries to tip it home. And a big hit there from Anthony Burgeon on Shane Gore. Now Reed with it. Reed, tries to fake the slap shot, get it back to Burgeon. Can't get it to go. And we see the Bees here, 2.5 minutes to go here in the second half. All Bees in this one, despite Tyler Ryan getting that early penalty shot. Yeah. The Bees have had the puck for most of this game.
Absolutely. And I think that just comes from being calm with the puck. You mean, you've got all kinds of space. Nice save.
Nice save there from Patton. He's been very busy tonight. As you mentioned, none of the goals really his fault. A lot of great passing by the Bees and a bit of defensive breakdown from the Lions.
Well, I think that's, you talk about Toronto doing a good job killing the clock. I think that's just something that it's part of the adjustment process. You kind of realize that, hey, we've got all this room out here. There's no need to force the puck anywhere. You know, you can take your time. If you don't like a look, just, pull out and try to get a better look. You don't need to settle for shots or anything in this league. But
Rob Quitt trying to work it out. Quitt controls the puck.
And despite the score being 5-1, I think you've seen Mike Platten with another great glove save. I think you've seen Mike Platten kind of make the adjustment. Even the goalies have to make adjustments themselves. I think he's kind of realized, I can't necessarily come out as far because a lot of the offense in this league is kind of geared towards backdoor passes.
Yep.
So as soon as you come out to challenge too far, they're just going to slide it behind you.
Adam Place all alone and makes a beautiful move. Fancy goal there from Adam Place, the old Peter Forsberg. And the Bees have a commanding 6-1 lead, and it looks like they're well on their way to winning their first ever 3HL game.
Adam Place, and this is two of the three guys on the ice right now played together with the Ajax Attack, played for the Ajax Attack, and Place played with Brandon Turner on the Ajax Attack, another guy that had a lot of success with the Potsdam Bears. So this is a group that I think is just showing their pedigree a little bit right now.
Jordan Reed with that slap shot that was working for him so well on New Year's Day just misses the net. Just 30 seconds left here in the second half. Toronto Bees with a dominating performance here in the first game of the Oshawa 3HL Tour Classic. And they're going to move on to the second round for their first time. In dominating fashion, Jordan Reed trying to put the icing on the cake. Here's the slap shot. Patton, who has been, despite the 6 goals, great with that glove.
Yeah.
Tyler Ryan trying to get one more. Doesn't look like it's going to go. And the Toronto Bees take this one 6-1. Their first victory and a dominating performance, to say the least, from the Bees. Brandon Turner, the captain, was amazing. Very physical, caused a few turnovers. And I think we saw why in the first tournament they came in with such hype.
Yeah, and I think this was a good balanced effort from their team. And I don't even really know necessarily now was it just the adjustment to the format? That obviously they ran into a great London team in the first game and maybe just got shell-shocked a little bit. And then once you get behind, you have to take more chances. But I think this was a completely different group we saw today. They go from giving up 9 goals to just 1 in this game. So I think this is a group that completely changed their mentality. They came out with the chip right away. A lot of Durham region boys on this team that I think came out and had a bit of a sense of urgency, to make their pockets a little heavier, and they've done just that.
And I think that's the thing that I took away from this one as well. It wasn't that they scored the goals, because I think a lot of teams are going to score goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's the defending. They gave up 9 the first time, 1 this time. So the Toronto Bees are moving on, and now what you and I considered the best matchup of the first round coming up, the Guelph Brewers taking on the champs from the New Year's Day Classic, the Milton Flyers.
The Ollie Fraser of the 3HL.
Yeah, right now. And they have number 9, the Guelph Brewers back. Brett McLean, the former Oshawa General star, is back at what used to be GM Place, now the Tribute Community Center. His first action in the 3HL. And you got on the other side the Milton Flyers, who were dominant on New Year's Day, including a win over the Guelph Brewers, which they limited this high-power offense to 1 goal.
No Dave Davenport.
No Dave Davenport. DiGeronimo in net for the Flyers. What do you expect from this matchup, Ian?
I think this is a team that, like you saw Toronto come out in the last game right from the get-go. I mean, they gave up that first goal, but they came out with some jump right away. I think you're going to see the same thing from the Guelph Brewers. I think if you're Milton, it's very important that, you won the first weekend, but you can't come out here and be complacent, especially against this Guelph team. Otherwise, you're going to run into a buzzsaw. I mean, you talk about Brett McLean, 119 points he put up in this building one season. Obviously not all in this building, but you know what I mean. 119 points one season with the Oshawa Generals, 100 in another. This is a guy that's 61 goals, 61 games one season. He knows what he's doing with the puck. So I think it's a great all-around feel-good story, not only with him coming back to a place where he dominated the OHL, but also a place where, for him, for his health to come back and be able to play professional hockey, this is a big deal for him.
And you saw the crowd getting fired up as they announced Brett McLean in the lineup for the Guelph Brewers. Milton Flyers, on the other hand, very balanced team. They were the most dominant team the first time New Year's Day. Tristan Fairbairn was fantastic. And Jesse Messier, who's on the ice right now, number 17, was the MVP for that team, but you could have given the MVP to anyone.
Oh, absolutely. I think this team was just, they came out like a team that they survived the first game, but they just seemed to have a game plan the whole day. And I think that's something that you combine that preparation, as prepared as you can be for something like this, with being able to make adjustments on the fly, and then their overall just balance as a team. I think they came out and they deservedly won the game, especially in the defensive zone.
Jesse Messier with a nice shot there, trying to get his team on the board early. Brewers now Tapper with it. Tapper with a nice little move, tries to slide it backdoor to Chris Chappell. Chappell was a CIS West first-team All-Star. He was also the captain of the Saginaw Spirit. Flyers control it now. Wired it, fired on net. Nice save there from Dupuis. And there he is, Brett McLean on the ice for the first time, the captain of the Guelph Brewers. Brewers control the end. Turnover, though. McLean on it in the corner. Kevin Willer with it. McLean gets it back. Can't get it out of zone and
I mean, you look at the guys on the ice for the Guelph Brewers. I don't think anyone played less than 100 games in the OHL.
Fairbarn tries to wire one. Mackey with the block. Another turnover there by the Flyers, and this is what we saw. Willard now. Flyers making a change. Might have to go all the way back to Spivak.
And I think even especially after winning last week, but I think they proved it last week as well, even in the first matchup, this Milton team isn't going to be intimidated.
No. Devine walks in. He circles back. Gets it to Spivak. Spivak wires it on net. Guelph controlling it still. Messier on the far side. Jesse Messier. Messier trying to get around the corner. Dupuis with the stop. Messier whacks at it. Ref going to blow it dead. Zero here for 4:45 left in the first half. Chappell trying to get it over to Miles McLean. Chappell turns it over. Chappell wires one.
It's a good stop by DiGeronimo there.
As we mentioned, DiGeronimo playing in his first action for the Flyers. Looks good on his first test there. Willer with a nice little move. Tapper, though, gets the poke check, trying to find Chappell. 2-on-1, Chappell with Kennedy. Over to Kennedy, and he scores! Nice move. Goal there from Matt Kennedy. Had a hat trick in the New Year's Day Classic. Former pick of the Carolina Hurricane makes it 1-0 for the Brewers.
And the former Guelph Storm captain gets it done there. But one thing, too, you notice about that combination.
Guelph almost scores right off the draw again.
The combination of Kennedy and Chappell, I talked about this last time we were out on the 3HL, but their length, how big those guys are, they can really make things happen, not only on offense and defense, but just with their size.
A trip there from Fairbarn. No call, though. Tapper trying to work it across the boards.
And you can see
and
this
the Brewers
game's starting to get a bit grittier.
Yeah, 2-on-1, Kennedy and Mackey. Kennedy keeps. Nice stop there from DiGeronimo. He quickly plays it out. Fairbarn with it on the far side. Fairbarn makes a nice little move, tries to squeeze it by Dupuis. Brett McLean on the ice with Theo Peckham and Miles McLean. Peckham controls it. Peckham and the McLeans are on a 2-on-1. Brett over to Miles. Nice stop there from DiGeronimo. McLean all the way back to Peckham. Peckham's pass is knocked down by Messier. Messier to Devine. Devine fires it on net. Dupuis with the save. McLean controls. He circles back. Tapper to McLean. He stops and waits. Tapper gets to the far side. Tapper brings it in, fires one. DiGeronimo there to make the stop. Kind of what we saw in the first game, Ian. You know, the first half a little tighter. Last game finished 1-1. This one 1-0 with just under 2 minutes to go.
I think it's also something to do with this is a bit of maybe a mutual respect between these two teams now after that first matchup. I think they kind of realize that both teams are dangerous.
Messier on the break. Dupuis with a great save there. Chappell controls it. .130 left here in the second game of the 3HL Tour Oshawa Classic. Here's Kennedy. Kennedy comes in. He has the goal, and there's a hooking call. And Matt Kennedy is going to get a penalty shot. Former fifth-round pick in the 2009 NHL Draft. The Carolina Hurricanes had a hat trick in the last tournament. Guelph Storm Captain Kennedy walks in. Kennedy, and he scores. No mistake there from Matt Kennedy. 2-0 Brewers.
This is a guy that's just flourishing right now in this league. We saw him with the hat trick in the first meeting against Newmarket, I believe it was.
And Brett McLean gets it over to Mackey, and Mackey scores so quickly. Guelph gets 2 goals, and it's 3-0 Brewers as the first half is winding down.
Brett Mackey, another local boy and former Belleville Bull there, getting it done. And I think that's something that we obviously kind of expected. When you talk about a team that has this kind of talent, they're obviously going to be able to score in bunches. So you got to kind of weather the storm and regroup here for the second half of this game.
Willer fires one wide. Dupuis makes the save. Mackey controls it. And that's going to do it for the first half here. The Guelph Brewers with a 3-0 lead. So last time these two teams met on New Year's Day, the Brewers only managed 1 goal. Now they already have 3 with still 7 minutes to play. What have you liked from their game so far?
Well, I think the Brewers have come out and, you know, kind of asserted themselves a little bit. And they've been, I would say they've been kind of patient in their chances. I mean, they didn't really start coming till late in the period. But both teams have started to stretch the ice a little bit. I think you saw that in the last couple minutes there. Guys starting to hang out a little bit. And not even necessarily for breakaways, but you see how much you can stretch the other team by just having a guy hang back here. You know, you throw the outlet pass, and then you just kind of wait for help. And I think they did a good job of just being patient with the puck, not forcing it, like I said, and just, you know, waiting for your help to come and firing the pucks out in front and trying to create those tap-in opportunities. I think when you come in and, you know, you try to – the slap shot thing, I think, is only going to work so much.
Yeah.
You know, I think at a certain point, most teams are gunning for those backdoor tap-in opportunities, and I think they did a good job of that. Obviously, the beneficiary of a penalty shot there, but let's see if there's a bit of a punch back here from Milton.
Yeah, the defending champs, so to speak, the only team who has a 3HL Tour
I guess we can
tournament
call
victory.
them the richest team.
Yes, the richest team. At least so far, Matt Kennedy wires one off the boards. Messier gets it for the Flyers. Willer.
And that's what I was talking about, the size of Kennedy. You can kind of overwhelm people.
Former Edmonton Oiler Theo Peckham with the puck behind the net. Peckham to Kennedy. Peckham getting pressured by Messier. Messier over to McLean. A turnover there. Far with it. Drops for Messier. Messier walks in. Just fires that one wide. And here's Brett McLean. McLean and Chappell with a 2-on-1. McLean, nice little move. Can't find it in his skates. But Chappell keeps it down low. Tapper with it. Fairbarn just tries to chip it by him. He controls it. Over to Forfar. Forfar circles back. Trying to get it over to Spivak. Spivak to Forfar. He was a teammate with Jesse Messier on York, so you mentioned a lot of these teams having familiarity. Jordan Forfar and Jesse Messier do have that together.
And I think that's something that's kind of naturally going to come with the captains having, I guess, the majority of the input on selecting these teams is that, you know, you're obviously going to ask some guys that, you know, you think are good, you may not know as well. But I think a lot of it comes from guys that you trust or guys that you're familiar with that you know that you've played with. You know, you have experience playing with them.
Mackey with a goal already here. He controls it over to Peckham. Peckham in for Mackey. Mackey fires one wide. That goes all the way back down to the other end. Kennedy over to Peckham. Knocked down there. Turnover. Devine. Devine wires one, blocked there by Peckham.
Took that one right off the ankle.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to bother him, though.
No, Theo Peckham with his time with the Edmonton Oilers did a lot of that. McLean and Kennedy 2-on-1 here for the Brewers. McLean keeps. Nice block there by Spivak. Spivak, a member of Team Israel, national team, gold medal in Division 2B in 2005. And he was also a member of Canada East in the World Junior A Challenge in 2007. Spivak tries to play it out. Kennedy turns it over. Chappell with a nice move, and he does not score. Looked like it went in the back bar and in, but hits the crossbar. Willard fakes the shot, tries to get around Peckham. Peckham pushes him off the puck. And there's the strength from the former NHLer, tossing Willer across the blue line.
Yeah, we saw him do that in Toronto as well. He's so strong and uses that body. Even in this format, if you get in any board play with Theo Peckham, he's going to try and body you off the puck.
Dupuis with a nice stop there. So with almost under 3.5 minutes to go, the Milton Flyers do not have a goal. McLean keeps it. That one bounced off the boards. Messier fakes the shot. Nice little move, and Messier tries to go 5-0. What a stop there from Dupuis.
Just maybe tried to get a little too cute there.
Great play there by Messier to get around the defender. Turnover from McLean. Chappell keeps it, though. Chappell waiting for McLean. Can't find him. McLean to Chappell, who's in front and can't get it over the corner of DiGeronimo. DiGeronimo has had a strong game for the Flyers in net, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously they're down 3-0, but he's made some big saves for them so far, I think, in this one. You saw that chance there, point blank. He's been rock solid. I mean, I don't really think you can sit here and say that Dave Davenport would have done much better in some of the goals he's let in.
Milton controls it. Tapper taps it loose.
I think you're kind of at the point now where if you're Milton, you got to start taking some chances here, obviously.
Yeah, you might see, as we talked about, what the Flyers did to a lot of teams is they got up big late, and then they took advantage and scored some insurance goals. Tapper dumps it in. Mackey almost gets that one to go. 2 minutes left here in the second half of the second game of the 3HL Tour Oshawa Classic. The Milton Flyers down 3-0 to the Guelph Brewers. Fairbarn, the captain, can't get that one to go. And Miles McLean's going to get a breakaway. Miles McLean. Nice little backhand there from McLean. 4-0 for the Brewers, and that might do it.
I think DiGeronimo was just kind of waiting there for him to pull it back forehand, and it just never happened. You see a lot more guys trying to do that these days, just go straight backhand in on the breakaways. It kind of throws the goalies for a loop.
So now the Brewers, Spivak walks in. Spivak scores on Dupuis. So no shutout for the Brewers netminder.
Spoils the donut.
Haven't had a shutout yet in the 3HL. A minute away from one, but Spivak
I think we might have to wait a while.
Yeah, able to find the back of the net. Might be too little too late, though. sort of a few plays here, Ian, that separated these two teams. They're so evenly matched, but you know, the Kennedy penalty shot kind of sparked the Brewers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, well, once they kind of got in a bit of a rhythm there, they started to flex their muscle a little bit. And Milton just couldn't get puck possession for a while. I think that was one of their biggest issues.
Willer makes a nice little move. Messier can't finish it off.
And that's where you see, even on that play there, just little battles where a guy like Theo Peckham is just so strong that he's just going to outmuscle you off the puck. And it's tough to win in those. In 3-on-3 hockey, there isn't as many of the little battles, but you saw a prime example of it there.
And that's it. The Guelph Brewers get revenge on the team that knocked them out on New Year's Day, taking this one 4-1. They will be moving on. As for the Flyers, no championship this time around.
First ever loss.
First ever loss for the Milton Flyers. Tough first-round matchup playing a team like the Brewers. These two teams could have easily met in the finals. Unfortunately, that's the way the draw works.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're gonna run into some tough first-round matchups on the tour because it's just a random format.
As we see, the Toronto Bees will take on the Guelph Brewers in round 2 at 4:30. We will have the other two games after the break, the Oshawa 88s and the Markham Millionaires. The London Threes also in action, taking on the Newmarket Saints. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 3HL Tour live here at the Oshawa Classic at the Tributes Community Center.
Hi, I'm Matt Nickel from BioSteel Sports Nutrition. Here to talk to you a little bit today about proper nutrition and proper training for hockey players in the off season. So everybody knows that it's important for hockey players trained to be fast, to be explosive, to have great endurance, to have great strength. It's also extremely important that they stay on top of their nutrition and have proper nutritional habits. Our BioSteel HPSM is the healthiest, safest, and most effective sports drink on the market. It's a great way for professional athletes and regular Joes alike to stay healthy, to stay hydrated while they're training, while they're competing through a long, hard workday. It maintains energy levels in a healthy and effective way, maintains focus and attention during a stressful period of time, whether that's during practice or at work, and also make sure that we stay healthy as we're training.
My name is Brett McLean, played in the Ontario Hockey League, the American Hockey League, and the NHL. Erie Otters, played there for a year and was traded to the Oshawa Generals. Then kind of started going from there, had 200-point seasons. My third year I was drafted in the second round of the NHL. My last year in the league, I led the league in goals with 61 goals in 61 games. It's going to be great to go back to the arena there and be back in Oshawa and play in front of fans I played in front of for 3 years.
Upshaw in deep in front, scored, driving to the net. His first.
Yes, I was 18 games into my NHL career and went back home for the summer. Kind of had made the decision that I was going to really push that year to become a full-time player or have to start looking for other avenues, whether it was Europe or whatever. And playing pickup hockey with my friends July 2nd, 40 minutes in the skate, went to make a pass and just collapsed to the ice. Luckily for me, a couple of guys I played with knew CPR and they acted right away, and there was a volunteer firefighter there who grabbed the AED, called 911, and the three of them, along with the paramedics, helped save my life. I mean, I feel very lucky to be here and be able to be a part of this league. When I was in hospital for 2 weeks, and the doctors initially told me I may never play hockey again. I probably won't, they didn't know how all my life would go, and I've kind of worked hard to getting back to as close to where I was as I could be, and after 6 months started skating again, and to be able to be here 4 years later and be able to play 3-on-3 hockey at a high level and just be a part of the game again is very exciting. I'm very happy to be able to do that.
We're going to have that offensive threat.
Turris Bodker scores! Brett McLean!
Well, I saw a little bit about it on Twitter. Didn't really know much of it. At first, I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. And then when you start looking into it and it starts picking up steam, I thought it was always a great idea. I just didn't know how it would work. And to be able to play 3-on-3, I think I was always a skilled guy, enjoyed scoring goals, had a lot of success with time and space, and thought it'd be something that'd be great for me, and just decided to reach out and going on. And every time I've come, I've enjoyed it, and just really looking forward to the season. The biggest thing you know, whether you're a hockey player, when you've been a hockey player your whole life, there's that competitive aspect, and you always want to be the best. Now in the 3HL, we want to win every tournament, and we look at it like there's 8 tournaments, we want to win every one of them, and being the favorite, you know, there probably is a target on our back, but we enjoy that because it's going to be a challenge and we want to overcome it. Yeah, I think what fans are going to see is fast, exciting hockey. I think, you know, guys have time and space to make plays that they might not get to make on a 5-on-5 game. You can be more creative. There's going to be lots of goals, and you know, I think the biggest thing is no lead's going to be safe. So, you know, you'll be watching the game, and you'll need to watch the whole 20 minutes.
And welcome back. The Markham Millionaires taking on the Oshawa 88s, 2 teams that lost on New Year's Day in the first round. So one of these guys is going to the second round for the first time. Daryl Rothen in net, one of our favorites, Ian. Maybe one of the most exciting goalies I've watched, and he was electric in that first game.
The real question is, how could you not have him be one of your favorites? And here he comes out with even more of a Dominic Hasek mask than he was rocking in week 1. So I think he set the bar so high for himself.
And fielding tested Rothen early, and he's up to the challenge. You can see how far Rothen came out to challenge that puck. Millionaires control over to captain Nate Donaldson. Donaldson trying to find Bonello. Andrew Bonello.
There's a couple teams here looking for their first taste of the cash here.
Yep. Blake Lavelle played for Brampton in the OJ8 HL. 115 points in 137 games. He walks in. Nice little move there from Lavelle. And there's going to be a penalty called. So we got another penalty shot, our 3rd penalty shot in 3 games.
And I think the refs maybe are clamping down a little bit on some of the stick work, because we definitely didn't see this much action in week 1.
Here goes Lavelle with the chasers closing in. Lavelle scores!
And that seems to be the common move. Guys are just coming in and shooting. I don't know if the goalies are backing up too quick or...
Lavelle puts the Millionaires on the board early, 1-0 lead for Markham. And here's Lavelle again. Just tries to fire it on net. Ends up bouncing into the corner. The 88s. Scholig chips that one in. Rothen all the way out to play the puck. 88s with it down low. Rothen. What a stop there from Daryl Rothen.
Oh, my Lord. I'm not even surprised.
We talked about him, and here's Bonello going the other way, trying to get one. Nice stop there from McDonald. Well, you know, we did hype him up, and I'm glad he lived up to the billing right away on one of his first stops of the game. Dominic Hasek, like save from a guy who is looking like Dominic Hasek in the net.
And I was about to say it was a nice move by the Oshawa player and a nice goal, and his stick just comes out of nowhere there.
Rothen with a nice stop there again. So early on, Daryl Rothen once again strong for the Millionaires. And there he is again, sprawling out, diving all over the place.
He's a one-man highlight reel. There's literally no other way to describe it.
The fans loving it already, and there's Rothen again. Lost in the fact that these electric saves is Oshawa, the 88s, having some nice pressure early on in this game, but
yeah, Oshawa's definitely dominating tempo, but so did Milton. Did the same thing.
Here's Halebich, and he's stopped there from McDonald. McDonald's been solid as well, obviously the breakaway, but he's been sharp early on here. Millionaires control it. Wilmot gets it, and they're going to get another penalty shot.
You talk about Oshawa dominating the tempo. Milton did that in the first game, the inaugural 3HL game against Markham, and you saw how long it took Milton to finally get back on top. Maybe Oshawa will have to deal with the same thing.
Millionaires coming in. And another great goal there. And Mike McDonald having a tough time early on. 2-0 for the Millionaires.
And I think some teams also in the penalty shots are very strategic in the sense that obviously you have the chasers, but some teams will send, and it's a smart thing to do, obviously if you don't get carried away with it. is the teams just sending other guys to rub out the chasers.
Oh, and what a breakaway pass there, missed by Wilmot. Santino Di Florio with the goal there for the Millionaires. Nice move there from Lavelle. 88s go the other way. As you mentioned, Todd Hosmer, number 27. He was the one who took the penalty, but Potsdam alum. And Lavelle almost getting his second of the game. So 2 minutes here left in the first half of this third game of the 3HL Oshawa Classic. And Daryl Rothen already stealing the show. And here's Scholig. Scholig, nice block there from Bonello. Bonello's away. It's a 2-on-1. Bonello curls back and dumps it down for Lavelle. Bonello played professionally in France for 2 years. Also played at Robert Morris, and there's a stop by Rothen, and can't get it that time. Almost, but Mitch Scott, the captain of the hometown Oshawa 88s, gets them on the board. 2-1 here.
There's a part of me that almost wonders now if Rothen's almost baiting them into those kind of saves to make the highlight reel, but a good job by Oshawa to cut the lead in half.
Albich fires it on to McDonald. McDonald tries to spring. Chase Dellin and Dellin over to Scholig, but Scholig stops it, and Rothen can't get it again, but Scholig finishes it off. So despite some highlight reel saves from Daryl Rothen, we have ourselves a 2-2 hockey game as the first half's winding down.
Yeah, and you know what? Oshawa's finally starting to get rewarded for their pressure here. So I think that's one thing about Markham that's kind of caught my eye right off the get-go here, because, you know, we didn't really get to see them that much in week one. But Bonello's skating ability, it's very obvious as to why he played at Robert Morris and then, played a little bit professionally in France there.
Big hit there. And a couple players tangled up, and refs got a call, and Oshawa's going to get a penalty shot. Fielding hits the post, and Fielding's trying to wrap around, and he scores! Nice effort there from Taylor Fielding.
Chalk one up for the Brock Badger.
3 unanswered goals from the 88s. Crowd's loving it, and as the first half wraps up, 3-2 Oshawa. And, this kind of is like the same thing that happened to Markham on New Year's Day, Ian. Rothen was electric. They had a lead. They're letting it slip away here. What's the key for them to get back in it in the second half?
I mean, we talk about so many other teams about how, you got to tighten things up in your own end. Now, I'm a big supporter of the Daryl Rothen show, but at a certain point, the reason he's so electric is because they're giving up so many chances and they're putting him in so many tough positions where he has to make those outrageous saves. They've got to do a better job of supporting him back there. It's one thing to give up shots, but it's the quality of the shots that you're giving up. So I think for them, they've got to tighten things up. And then the hometown Oshawa 88s, they've been pouring it on this entire game. I don't anticipate it stopping, especially we talk about now with the shorter games. It's quick, right?
We'll see if the Markham Millionaires can stop the bleeding here a bit. They've surrendered 3 unanswered goals. One of these teams is going to the second round for the first time. Both teams were bounced early in the New Year's Day Classic and hungry to get some money in their pocket and on to the next round. Here we go, second half. And there's Todd Hosmer, a new addition for the 88s. Spoke about Bonello. He controls the puck, tries to make a move. Leah runs over Bonello and turns it over.
Just didn't put his head up before I threw that one.
And here's
out.
Lavelle, 2-on-1 with Bonello, gets it over, but nice play there from Todd Hosmer. And the 88s got a bit of a 2-on-1 themselves. Leah waiting, and he hits the post.
One thing you saw that pass from Todd Hosmer there, you're starting to see a lot of guys doing that now, where
Todd Hosmer almost finishes off that nice play in tight. Hosmer plays it back.
Where guys are finally starting to adjust to all the open space. And when you have those opportunities in transition, you don't need to necessarily fire a laser on a guy's tape. Just chip it off the boards, use that space, and kind of lead him into it.
Donaldson controlling it for the Millionaires, captain of the team. Markham, Wilmot with it now. Wilmot makes a nice little move, one-handed. Gets it back. Wilmot gets it over. Halebich can't finish it off. Ryan Halebich in the corner. And he's going to take it all the way back to center ice. Halebich moves in. Fires one on net. Wide. Wilmot plays it all the way back, and Daryl Rothen almost out to the blue. He is out to the blue line.
Oh, with no hesitation.
And there it is.
Costly turnover.
And there's a turnover, and Rothen tries to throw his stick, but Mitch Scott there. And I think Rothen wants a call. He felt he was tripped up near the neutral zone. He was all the way out to literally the blue line. Turnover.
Well,
Mitch Scott takes advantage.
He made the good play. It was the defenseman that turned it over.
So kind of deja vu for the Markham Millionaires. Last time they were up early and let it slip through their fingers. Looking like that right now, but there's still tons of time here. Scholig gets it over and almost gets it back and taps it in. Bonello with it now, one of the guys who could get this Millionaires team back on track. Bonello, nice little move, brings it in and hits the post. Nice play there.
I think that might have caught a piece of McDonald's just butt end. But a very nice move by Bonello there. They need to take more chances like that and kind of try and spark themselves a little bit here.
Rothen going out for another skate, fires one all the way around to Bonello.
And guess what the best part of Markham taking more chances is, Dalton? When it comes back the other way.
And there's Rothen with a nice stop there, keep his team in it. A 2-goal deficit can be overcome in a blink of an eye here.
Absolutely.
3 is a little tougher. Donaldson. Stick gets up there. Rothen out to play it again. He fires it. Bounces over the stick of Lavelle. Rothen doing a lot of puck controlling here. And it hits a glove, and Lavelle almost turns it over. Wilmot comes off the bench. He charges in. Halebich fires it wide. And here's Todd Hosmer. Todd Hosmer with a head of steam comes in, blocked there by Halebich. So just under 3 minutes to go here in the second half. Markham's going to need 2 goals to get back in this one. Wilmot plays it ahead to Halebich. He waits all 3 Markham players in the offensive zone, and here's what we talked about, Ian. Breakaway, Steven Scholig. Scholig, and he scores, top shelf. Nice goal there from Scholig, his second of the game, 5-2-88.
He's another guy that's a big guy, but he can fly up and down the ice. And like I said, and all these one of the biggest parts of 3-on-3 hockey is we talk about all the, the transition opportunities, the odd man situations, but the downside of that is if you don't cash in or the goalie kicks out a big rebound or you miss the net and it rings the boards, the other team's going back the other way. If you already have a 2-on-1, you maybe don't necessarily need 3.
Scholig gets it back again, and he tries to just chip it in. And Bonello, here we go, 2-on-1 the other way. Bonello with Lavelle. Scholig getting back into it, though. And he comes, what a play there from Steven Scholig to break up that play. And now it's a 2-on-1 the other way. To Leon. And Rothen comes over, and Rothen makes another pad save. So despite his team being down 3 goals, Daryl Rothen still making electric saves. Lavelle with a nice little move. And there's number 18. I know it says Boyle, but it's Randy Gill. And Gill's done a lot of work, Ian?
Oh, absolutely. This is a guy that I think we've seen him out here with a couple shifts here tonight, and he's going to get tested here. But a guy that played junior hockey, the backer of one of the big charities here for the 3HL. So it's a guy. It's good. It's a good little initiative out here, and he's a guy that can hang on the ice as well.
No, he chips it there, and he's getting off it. But with the 88s up, he might get a few more shifts here in the dying seconds.
Yeah.
Fielding trying to fight through. Halebich gets it to Wilmot. Todd Hosmer, he's been provided a lot of energy for the 88s on the back end.
And you can tell Hosmer's fresh out of pro hockey in the sense that you can still tell how smooth he is on his skates.
Mm-hmm.
And he can get up and down the ice pretty effortlessly, so I think that's a good boost to their squad out there. Definitely a good addition for this team.
Daryl Rothen tries to fire that one all the way down the ice. Can't do it. 20 seconds left here, and the Oshawa 88s are going to get their first victory and move on to the second round for the first time. Markham's going to have to wait another few weeks until they can get their chance to go to the second round, but an impressive performance here from the hometown Oshawa 88s.
Yeah, the 88s kind of from start to finish came out and dominated this game. Obviously, like we talked about, a lot of friends and family here in the arena probably for these 88s. A lot of local Oshawa, Durham region boys on this team. They came out right from the get-go, not messing around. And I think maybe Markham has to do a little bit of retooling before the next thing, or at least figure some things out, because they got to do something to kind of support Jared Rotham a little bit more. But I think that game spoke maybe a bit more to Oshawa than it did to maybe Markham's downfall. I think it was more Oshawa's strengths. They kind of just came out, and we saw that's why they've scored so many goals against Kitchener in their last game. Was this team can score? Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. They have the offensive firepower. They've got some speed. They've got a little bit of size too. So maybe we shouldn't sleep on the hometown 88s.
Definitely an impressive performance here. I think what we both saw was some of the size of these players. Steven Scholig, he is a guy who had 2 goals for them in this game.
Even Hosmer, we talked about his skating. Yep. He's still a big guy out there.
Yeah, so the 88's definitely a team to watch out for. So their first win in 3HL history comes on home ice. We are going to have a flood before the last and the final game, which is between the Newmarket Saints and the London Threes. The Saints are picked to win it all, and as you can see, the bracket here, the 88's moving on for the first time. There are 2 grand richer. So coming up, it's the London Threes and the Newmarket States. You are watching the 3HL Tour Oshawa Showcase.
Hi, we're here at Their Opportunity. We're here with Randy Gill, president and founder. The 3HL is pleased to have partnered with Their Opportunity and to support their great cause. Randy, tell us a little bit about what Their Opportunity does.
Well, thank you for partnering with us, Justin. We're super excited to partner with the 3HL, the players, the fans, to give children in your community opportunity to play sports and recreation programs. Their opportunity exists to provide low-income families with support for their recreation fees to enroll their children in sports and recreation programs. But what makes us unique, and we're really proud of this, it's our Give Back program, where within 3 months of receiving sponsorship from Their Opportunity, children in our program must do some type of community service as a way of paying it forward. Thanks again, 3HL fans and players and the community for supporting their opportunity and helping us to enroll over 2,000 kids in program. And look for the orange in your neighborhood.
My name is Brett McLean, played in the Ontario Hockey League, the American Hockey League, and the NHL. Yeah, I started off as a first-round pick with the Erie Otters, played there for a year and was traded to the Oshawa Generals. Then kind of started going from there, had 200-point seasons. My third year I was drafted in the second round of the NHL. My last year in the league, I led the league in goals with 61 goals in 61 games. It's going to be great to go back to the arena there and be back in Oshawa and play in front of fans I played in front of for 3 years.
Upshaw in deep in front, scored, driving to the net. His first.
Yes, I was 18 games into my NHL career and went back home for the summer. Kind of had made the decision that I was going to really push that year to become a full-time player or have to start looking for other avenues, whether it was Europe or whatever. And playing pickup hockey with my friends July 2nd, 40 minutes in the skate, went to make a pass and just collapsed to the ice. Luckily for me, a couple of guys I played with knew CPR and they acted right away, and there was a volunteer firefighter there who grabbed the AED, called 911, and the three of them, along with paramedics, helped save my life. I mean, I feel very lucky to be here and be able to be a part of this league. When it first happened to me, I was in hospital for 2 weeks, and the doctors initially told me I may never play hockey again. I probably won't, they didn't know how well my life would go, and I've kind of worked hard to get back to as close to where I was as I could be, and after 6 months started skating again, and to be able to be here 4 years later and be able to play 3-on-3 hockey at a high level and just be a part of the game again is very exciting. I'm very happy to be able to do that.
We're going to have that offensive threat.
Turris Bodker scores! Brett McLean!
Well, I saw a little bit about it on Twitter. Didn't really know much of it. At first, I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. And then when you start looking into it and it starts picking up steam, I thought it was always a great idea. I just didn't know how it would work. And to be able to play 3-on-3, I think I was always a skilled guy, enjoyed scoring goals, had a lot of success with time and space, and thought it'd be something that'd be great for me, and just decided to reach out and see what was going on. And every time I've come, I've enjoyed it, and just really looking forward to the season. The biggest thing, whether you're a hockey player, when you've been a hockey player your whole life, there's that competitive aspect, and you always want to be the best. Now in the 3HL, we want to win every tournament, and we look at it like there's 8 tournaments, we want to win every one of them, and being the favorite, there probably is a target on our back, but we enjoy that because it's going to be a challenge and we want to overcome it. Yeah, I think what fans are going to see is fast, exciting hockey. I think guys have time and space to make plays that they might not get to make on a 5-on-5 game. You can be more creative. There's going to be lots of goals, and I think the biggest thing is no lead's going to be safe. So you'll be watching the game, and you'll need to watch the whole 20 minutes.
Welcome back to Oshawa. Dalton Finkbeiner here with Ian Duffy at the Oshawa Classic for the 3HL Tour. Ian, we've seen 3 games so far. 1 more to go. The Newmarket Saints taking on the London Threes. Newmarket's a team we picked to win this all, so we're our credibility's a bit on the line here.
We're all in on the Newmarket Saints.
Yeah, we are. So what do you like so much about the Saints team?
I think when we talk about just all the guys that have played and gone through the Newmarket Hurricanes system, I think there's so much familiarity on this team combined with talent. Yeah. And I think that's something because of such a short turnaround and only this being the second weekend of the tour, I think you kind of give them an advantage out of the gate in the sense that, they haven't even won a game yet.
Yep.
I mean, we are giving them a lot of credit, but they looked so good against Guelph in that first game that on paper, as well as they passed the eye test for me,
yep.
I think this is a team that, especially with the top-end talent of Chris McKinnon, I don't think there's any doubt that this team can play with anyone on the tour. And you combine that with their great goaltending and Jimmy Sargent, I think this is a team that is well-equipped to have some success and earn some money here today.
Sargent, one of the more talented goalies in the league. And we saw 2 teams who also lost in their first round, the Toronto Bees and the Oshawa 88s get their first win. So the Newmarket Saints could follow suit with them. They're taking on a London Threes team who was very impressive on New Year's Day. They made it all the way to the finals, and they got a lot of new blood. What did you like from the London Threes game?
Well, London was a team that had firepower right out of the gates, and it comes from a guy, Luke Baleshta, Patty Morgan, this team, and then they add some more. They did some retooling between weeks 1 and 2. They add a guy like Zach Lawrence, who put up some big numbers in the OHL as well. So this is a team that I think, combined with Rich Wigmore, who kind of gets, maybe lost in the shuffle a little bit when you talk about this team, but was key in their success in Toronto. I think this is a group that this game could go either way for me, and I think it's kind of a boom or bust pick for us with the Newmarket Saints, because I could easily see them out after this game, but I also at the same time could see them winning the championship, and I think that kind of can be said for a lot of teams on the tour. But this is a team that for me, I think we're all in on the Newmarket Saints for good reason. I think this is a team that does have all kinds of talent. And for London, I think now, since they've retooled the roster a little bit, added some big-time talent, I think this is a group that, how quickly can they mesh?
Yeah.
Because in week 1, they had some instant chemistry out of the gates, and when they put that thrashing on Toronto, and that was obviously a theme for us was coming into this, was the teams that haven't won a game, they're going to come out of the gates hard. And that can pay off with the shortened games, because 7 minutes, boom, you're at halftime, and then you only got 7 more minutes to redeem yourself.
And it will be interesting to see as the London Threes have some new players, how they adjust, because this is their first action of 3-on-3 hockey professionally, where the Newmarket Saints, most of them have that one game under their belt.
Yeah, and I think, in that sense, so if Newmarket pulls this one out, we'll have seen, 3 out of 4 games a team get their first win?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that can't be understated, is that hunger to just get that first win, get that first chunk of change, if you will. But I think this is going to be a good one for sure. And I think London kind of surprised some people in the first week. I think people expected them to be competitive, but not as high scoring as they were. And even Rich Wigmore, who was maybe, I guess, also a little bit underrated coming in, because he stole the show in some of those games, even when they were lighting up the scoreboard.
He had a phenomenal glove save that made our top 10 place from the New Year's Day Classic.
Yeah.
So definitely an intriguing matchup to see which team moves on to the semifinals. Newmarket searching for their first win. London coming off their first loss. They had 2 wins. They won their first game and their second game, and they were impressive throughout the tournament, ran out a bit of gas, and one of the reasons we alluded to it, they had some injury troubles. They went down, they only had 7 skaters, they went down to 6, and that kind of put them in a bind. They had a couple guys banged up, and by the finals, they kind of just caught up with them.
Yeah, that definitely hurt them, and you don't want to make excuses for them by any means, but it was blatantly obvious to anyone that watched the game that they simply just ran out of gas. It's tough when it's your third game in the day, and then you go down to 5 skaters. So basically, one person can almost never come off the ice each shift.
So here we go, the last game of the first round of the Oshawa Classic. The Newmarket Saints taking on the London Threes. London made it all the way to the finals, and they're trying to get a quick start early, but Jimmy Sargent with this stop. Sargent, a goalie for Mercyhurst in Division I NCAA. Stephen Johnston, he played for Windsor and Belleville, over 100 points in his OHL career, also played in the CIS. But here's London again coming in. McCormick rips one wide, back to Skinner. And there's Chris McKinnon, a guy we talked about. McKinnon in with Davies. McKinnon makes a nice little move. Can't get around Wigmore. Jason Skinner with it now. Skinner comes in, tries to fires it through, but blocked by Jarman. The Skinner brothers, Jordan Skinner and Jason Skinner. Jason played for London of the WOHL. Jordan played for Southern Maine in NCAA, 23 points in 48 games. He also played for the Milton Ice Hawks in the OJHL. Here's Davies out in front, and he scores. Adam Davies puts the Saints on the board, beating Wigmore. And the Newmarket Saints have an early 1-0 lead.
And that's simply just Newmarket capitalizing on their opportunities. I mean, London has already had 2 chances with guys right on the doorstep, and they haven't been able to cash in, and Newmarket makes the most of their chance.
Patty Morgan on the forecheck for the threes. Morgan was electric in the New Year's Day tournament. One of the stars for the threes. One of the reasons they made it all the way to the finals. Saints. Hovanessen with Johnston. Johnston over to Hovanessen. He just misses, had a wide open net. Nice little physical play there, and tries to get over to McKinnon. But that's going to lead to a break. The other way, Skinner. Sargent with a nice save there. And here's Johnston and McKinnon with a little 2-on-1. McKinnon keeps over to Johnston, and he scores. They're calling a kick, but the ref says it's good.
No, he didn't move his foot.
Chris McKinnon with a nice little setup to Stephen Johnston to give the Saints a 2-0 lead.
And that's what we talk about, you know, the familiarity with this Newmarket team, but also like the connection on that goal there is 2 guys that have more than put up their share of points in the OHL.
Mm-hmm. McCormick in tight. Sargent with a nice save there. Baleshta has it. Baleshta trying to find Skinner. McCormick with it. Puck's all the way in the air. Davies gets it. And here's Jarman waiting for it. Jarman with McKinnon. Tries to do a spin pass. Wigmore there to poke check it away. McCormick over to Skinner. To Baleshta. Baleshta trying to make a nice little move. It works out. He just chips it back so the threes can regroup in the offensive zone. Baleshta with it. Stick handles. Fires. Sargent with the save. And here, quick transition for the Saints. Broken up there. Baleshta back with it. Baleshta has McCormick down low. He crashes to the net. Sargent, though, covers it up, and he's just going to hold it, and let his team reset, complete a change. Buys with it now. Buys moves in. Nice little move there. Almost gets the toe drag to go, and Patty Morgan almost sprung on the break. Buys with it. Oh no, Patty Morgan almost gets sprung on a break again. Sargent to Johnston. Johnston over to Hovanessian. Back to Johnston. Johnston, nice little move. Controls it on the half boards. Down low, Saints control it. Patty Morgan intercepts it, tries to spring Skinner on a break, but too tired. McKinnon back on the ice. We talked a lot about Chris McKinnon. A top 10 scorer in the OHL in 2008-2009. And early on, we've seen his offensive skills setting up. Johnston, 2-on-1 now. Skinner and Morgan. Morgan finishes it off. Patty Morgan picks up where he left off on New Year's Day and gets the threes on the board.
Yeah, it looked like they might have, kind of lost that 2-on-1 chance there for a second, but they managed to corral that bouncing puck and make the most of it there and give London a bit of breathe some life back into this London team.
Last minute of play here in the first half of the last first round game of the Oshawa 3HL Classic. London trying to even this up before the horn. McCormick tries to bat it out of midair, and he does. Spencer McCormick with a fantastic finish to tie this one up.
Dalton, the one thing that even since their first game, the one thing that amazes me about this London team is that even regardless of who it is on the ice, for the most part, their entire group just seems so calm with the puck. And I think those are the teams that ultimately end up having success so far in this season.
Jarman trying to get it to go. 5 seconds left here in the first half. Saints just fire it on net, and we're going to have a tie game going to the second half. So similar to what we saw in our last game with the Oshawa 88s and the Markham Millionaires. Newmarket went up 2-0, and the Threes used the second half of the first period to tie it up.
Yeah, I think we knew that both, like we talked about coming into this game, that both these teams are very good. There's no doubt about that. I think we saw Newmarket come out and kind of, maybe make our championship pick look pretty good out of the gates there. But I think they showed that, like every team, they're a little bit susceptible in this format. And London's a team that's playing with a lot of confidence after their success in the first weekend. Also a talented group.
I think what we can, having seen all these teams played now for a second time, any team can beat any other team on any given day.
Yeah.
They're all very evenly matched, so there's a couple plays that come down to a game that determines the difference.
Well, like you see,
whether the score is 5-1 or a 1-goal win.
Yeah, I mean, you saw London's last goal; it just batted out of midair. Like, it's not like there's necessarily a hockey play, but it's just getting the bounces in. This London team just doesn't seem to really get rattled.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most impressive things you can say about them so far in our experience with this group. And then they're same guys from last week. They're reliable guys. Like you get a guy like Patty Morgan getting them on the board, who was a big part of their offense last week. And even Luke Baleshta hasn't scored yet, but he's been a big part of creating chances early.
Skinner almost gets London the lead there. So the Threes coming out, picking up where they left off at the end of the first half, controlling the puck. Skinner with it. Johnston almost picks it off. Skinner fires it. Baleshta trying to complete the wraparound. Just throws it in front. Johnston with it. He curls back, getting pressured by Jason Skinner. Down low, Chris McKinnon. Baleshta, though, races in. Nice play from McKinnon to deny him the puck, but London somehow keeps it. Baleshta plays it all the way back to Wigmore to complete a change for the Threes. Almost get a breakaway pass through. Johnston controls it. All three players up for the Saints. Jarman wires it into the netting. Saints might have been lucky there. They had all three players down low. A missed shot could have resulted in a breakaway. Jarman tries to steer that one towards the net.
That was a good job, though, by Patty Morgan on the back check there, just kind of getting in the passing lanes and trying to take away the gaps.
Here's Morgan. Morgan with it, trying to get it, cross it to Skinner. 2-on-1 for the Saints. Jarman. Wigmore steers that one away. Hovanesson. Jarman fires one. Jarman again, and he scores. What a shot from Kevin Jarman, and the Saints are up 3-2.
It's just too much time and space for guys that are, this good. You can't allow them to think about the shot that much. If they don't feel any pressure, they're probably going to bury it.
So the Saints get the lead back, and another goal from the Newmarket Saints. Wigmore didn't seem to see that one. And the Saints have a 4-2 lead. So Newmarket with two quick goals.
But I think that's something that you're going to see.
And a nice play there from the Threes.
Well, what I was just going to say was it's going to be it's going to be like this the whole tour.
Yeah. It's
going to be streaky back and forth. Teams are going to go on runs. You just got to, punch back, essentially, is because teams are going to score in this. That's why I said if you're a goalie in this format, you got to check your ego at the door. Like, you're going to get scored on.
What a save there from Jimmy Sargent.
And that's the kind of stuff that gets you on the Hobie Baker ballot right there.
What a play there from the Saints netminder, keeping his team in front. McKinnon plays it down, buys with it. Waiting for a change. Johnston now tries to spin it to Jarman. Jarman turns it over. Johnston with it, fires. Wigmore turns it away. Johnston gets it back and slides it in. So Stephen Johnston with a hustle play to get it past Wigmore and has restored his team's 2-goal advantage. Boleshta almost worked his way, but now Johnston with Jarman 2-on-1. Slap pass. Wigmore dived. But now 2-on-1, 3-on-1 the other way. Boleshta keeps over, just bounces over the stick. Jarman gets it.
That was good recognition by London to make sure they had one guy back. They almost got caught going 3-on-1 there.
And Davies with it, and he scores. What a backhand from Adam Davies. And Newmarket's pulling away here in the second half.
And they get caught anyways, but this is what we talked about. This is why we thought Newmarket was a big-time contender coming into this. They have so much firepower. You know, the familiarity is one thing, but when you get out there on the ice, and that sometimes talent just wins. Not that London lacks talent, but I'm just saying this is a group that definitely has high expectations.
McKinnon with a nice little move. He spins. Can't find Hovannison. And now Skinner on the break. Skinner and Sargent with another. And McKinnon's going to get sprung the other way. Boleshta on him, though. Chris McKinnon waiting for his teammate, McKinnon. And Wigmore with a nice save there. 2.5 minutes to go. London Threes need 3 goals. Skinner to Boleshta. Boleshta. Sargent with a nice glove save. And he covers it up.
You know, Luke Boleshta, I don't think has had the success that he maybe wanted today, but it hasn't been for lack of chances.
No, he's been one of the threes of Sargent's come up with a couple big saves, but as we talked about in the first game, it might just be a case of Newmarket just playing a tiny bit better on this day.
Yeah.
McCormick with it now. McCormick over to Morgan. Morgan back to McCormick. Sargent with a nice save. McCormick spins. McCormick comes out of the corner and just misses short side. The Threes controlling it here. They're going to need to score fast. McCormick comes in, and Sargent with another save. He has been very solid here in this first game.
As we talked about, that's one of the reasons we like this team is because top to bottom, goaltending on out, from Jimmy Sargent all the way to Chris McKinnon, this is a very talented bunch. And you even watch Jimmy Sargent when he plays. He's so precise in his movements, and you see how compact he gets down there. But he's obviously a talented guy, and you don't need me to tell you that. I mean,
and Jarman finishes off the nice passing play from McKinnon, and the Saints are well on their way to their first victory in the 3HL.
This is kind of, we talked about Guelph kind of flexing their muscles a little bit. I think this is Newmarket kind of doing the same thing here.
And buys.
Another thing we should mention is that Rich Wigmore came into this game, battling a bit of an injury. Mm-hmm. It's something he just said, I'm going to play through it regardless. And I'm not saying that he's the reason, by any means that they're losing or anything, but I'm just saying it's something to consider when you see some of these goals going in.
And Skinner over to Skinner, can't get it to go. Sargent gets over to the post to shut the door. Just under 30 seconds, and the Newmarket Saints are going to advance for the first time. So, of the teams that were eliminated on New Year's Day, 3 of them, of the 4 teams that are eliminated in the first round on New Year's Day, 3 of them are advancing to the second round here in Oshawa. One more chance here for the Saints. Wigmore turns it away, and that's going to do it. The Newmarket Saints are off to the second round for the first time. Impressive performance from them. They'll take on the Oshawa 88 in the second semifinal. Tough one here for the London Threes. Just didn't have it today, but still an incredibly talented team. We saw them almost get it done last time. This time, they're out in the first round.
It's ironic that the Markham Millionaires are the only team that's yet to cash in, but I think coming into this game, we said, you could easily see Newmarket going to the finals, or you could see them losing this game. And I think London is a group that like we said, super talented, all kinds of skill up and down their bench. Even Rich Wigmore between the pipes, he's shown that he obviously, helped get their team to the finals in Toronto. But like we said, there's a lot of turnover on their roster. I think that's something that, takes some adjusting to. This is now Newmarket's second week together, and here they go into the second round against the hometown boys.
So here's a look at the bracket coming up. The Toronto Bees and the Guelph Brewers in the first semifinal. In the second semifinal, it's the hometown Oshawa 88s taking on the Newmarket Saints. 3 of these teams, the Bees, the 88s, and the Saints, were out in the first round. Now have a chance to get to the finals. The Guelph Brewers, this is the round where they were eliminated, so we're going to have 2 teams, new teams in the finals here in Oshawa. And we saw, the Bees we talked about, these are 2 of the teams that we think are, on paper, have some of the most talent in the league. And the Bees came out and proved it. Brandon Turner leading the way with his physical play. And the Brewers, as you mentioned, Ian, they kind of flexed their muscle in a way and showed, they were dominating over the Kitchener Lions.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a real test for the Toronto Bees to see how much they have overcome. Overcome, but I mean, come full circle, I guess, from last week, getting absolutely shellacked in the first game and then coming back and giving one out today. And you're really enjoying that. But I think this is going to be a good test for them. And I think one of the big keys to their success was they came out in that first game with a bit of an edge.
Yeah.
And I think you can't lose that coming into the second game. It's easy to, after you get that first win, to kind of sit back a little bit maybe and be kind of happy with yourself. But I think you got to keep going here and keep that edge, because that, to me, was the big driving force in that victory.
These are probably 2 of the more physical teams in the league.
Oh, this is going to get chippy.
With Theo Peckham out there, and Brandon Turner was forcing turnovers, using the body. And we mentioned it, the Bees were disappointed in their effort. Nothing to be disappointed about in their first game. They were dominant. So were the Brewers, limiting the champs, the Milton Flyers, to just 1 goal. So we'll see if they can continue that defensive prowess here against the Bees, who found a bit of an offensive rhythm in their first game.
Yeah, the Bees for sure. And I think one of the things about the Bees was it wasn't this time just Jordan Reed. Mm-hmm. They got some balance, they got some depth scoring. I think they're going to need a big game out of David Blair in this one, because no matter how hard you try in 3-on-3, you're going to give up chances.
Alex Dupuis almost had a shutout in that first game against the Flyers. It was spoiled with the last minute. And we have, Brett McLean hasn't scored yet, but, I don't expect him to be quiet for the rest of the day. Playing here in an arena he's very familiar with, an arena where he scored a ton of goals as a member of the Oshawa Generals. So definitely another marquee matchup here in the second round. The Toronto Bees looking to win their second game. Brewers, both these teams looking to get to the finals for the first time. And here we go at puck drop. Eric Wiseman taking on Chris Chappell. And puck drop here in the first semifinal at the Tribute Community Center in Oshawa. The 3HL Tour Oshawa Classic, semifinal number 1. Guelph Brewers and the Toronto Bees. Dalton Finkbeiner here with Ian Duffy, and Chappell into the slot, and he scores. So 20 seconds in, the Guelph Brewers get on the board.
And that was just a bad bounce if you're the Bees. Puck just gets deflected and goes in, but that's the one thing I think they, Chappell just kind of coasted through there. Mm-hmm. I think you need to, if you're the Bees, you saw in the first game, they were very physical.
Yeah.
I think you got to keep up that physical edge. Obviously, Guelph's a big team. It's not easy to be physical with them, but just try and separate them from the puck a little.
Wiseman wires one, curls that one into the corner. Virgin with it. Virgin with it. He curls in. Bees controlling it now. Back to Rob Quitt. Quitt, a Memorial Cup champ in 2009. And what a play there from Anthony Virgin.
Just got his glove back on.
Just got his glove back on and finishes off the pretty goal to tie this one at once.
That was some good patience, and I think that's what was another big key in their success we talked about in their first win there. All the teams that seem to me to have success in this are very calm with the puck.
Place over to Reed, and Reed can't finish it off, and Place throws it in, and what a stop there from Dupuis. Didn't see it in his feet and able to find it just in time before it crossed the line.
Now, football's not the only game of inches.
Yeah, inches away from the red line. We have early action here in the semifinals. Peckham over to Mackey. Mackey to McLean. Brett McLean keeps the puck there. Nice play. And Brett McLean, what a goal.
Atlanta, that was a nice goal.
What a goal from the Brewers captain. He's used to scoring in this building and does it once more.
And the Brett McLean fan club is loving it over there in the stands. We've got some McLean San Antonio Rampage jerseys, some Phoenix Coyotes, some old Jenny's jerseys.
And he scores his first goal in the 3HL. A pretty move to give his team a 2-1 advantage. Kelly Jackson with it. Jackson fires it on net. Dupuis turns it away. And now Chappell and Miles McLean are away. Miles McLean with it. Fires it just wide. And now Rob Quitt almost with the break. Waits for Jackson. Jackson goes in. Kelly Jackson, player with Queens. Decorated CIS career, 87 points in 103 games.
Both of these teams won $2,000.
Tapper with it now for the Brewers. Finds Matt Kennedy. Kennedy just throws it on net.
And you can see that Toronto's being very calculated out here. They're not taking too many chances. They're trying to play a smart game, and I think it's good to see them making adjustments out here.
Kennedy with it. He's probably been the most impressive player for the Brewers through their 2 tournaments. Scored a hat trick last week. Had a penalty shot goal today. Mackey over to Kennedy. Kennedy turns it over, though. 2-on-1. Reed and Place. Jordan Reed waits and gets it over, and what a stop from Dupuis.
You can tell Reed was tempted to let that slap shot fly. He was thinking about it. 2
slap shot goals on New Year's Day. Hasn't found the net with one of those yet. Still plenty of time. 2:45 left in the first half of this first semifinal. Theo Peckham controls it for the Brewers. Over to Brett McLean. 2-on-1. Brett McLean in and can't beat Blair. Here's Turner. To Burgeon. Burgeon. Back to Turner. Adam Place with it now. High slot. Place fires a great glove there from Dupuis.
That's a good adjustment. That one got tipped as well. And I honestly think if you're the Bees, I still don't think you need to force anything necessarily. I think if they go in, I mean, there's obviously still 2 minutes left, but if they were to go into the halftime down 2-1, I think they'd be okay with that.
Yeah, and Theo Peckham blows a tire there. Back to Brandon Turner, across to Jackson. Jackson trying to find Rob Quitt. Rob Quitt over. Wiseman in the slot, curls back and gets it to Jackson.
See, that's okay. And that's the thing, once guys realize that.
Rob Quitt kicks it to himself.
3-on-3 affords you that luxury. You can make those kinds of plays where you just throw it to a safe space because there's so much room out here on the ice.
Kennedy over to Peckham. Off the boards, just out of the reach of Tapper. Blair out to play it. Gets it around Tapper just barely, but he gets it back. Back to Chris Chappell. Chappell down to Matt Kennedy. Back to Anthony Tapper. Tapper played 79 games for the University of Waterloo in the CIS. Jordan Reed gets pushed off the puck there from Tapper. Great skating from the former Waterloo Warrior. Big hit from Reed. Forces a turnover. Quit to Reed. Goes back to Memorial Cup champ Rob Quit. He fires it on. So just a few seconds left, and that wraps up the first half of this semifinal. The Brewers with a 2-1 lead over the Bees. Ian, a pretty closely defended contest so far. Neither team kind of taking risks. Did you expect that coming in?
Not necessarily. I mean, I kind of expected it to be a little bit more wide open, but I was impressed in the first half of this game. I think that might have been the most strategic game we've seen so far in the 3HL. You could tell there was a lot of cat and mouse going on in that game where Toronto, as talented as they are, they don't maybe necessarily have the size. I think you could say that maybe they know a little bit in this game. They might be a little bit overmatched. Just a little bit. And I think you saw them try to compensate for it in a very good way. They made sure they had two guys back almost at all times. They're very patient with the puck, and they were happy to make the smart play. They played very smart hockey, played it safe a lot of times out there. And I think that's key for them going into this, because if they start getting into a run and gun with this team, Guelph is just too good, I think, for them to commit. Now, I'm not saying that's a sure thing, but I think Toronto, you could tell in Toronto's style of play that they acknowledge that, we want to be competitive and hang in for as long as we can, and then we'll kind of make our move.
Yeah, I think they're patiently waiting a time, and here comes Brett McLean. The former Oshawa General, Brandon Turner, blows a tire. Brett McLean with it, but he can't beat David Blair, so...
And Blair bails him out on that
David Blair bails out his captain. Brandon Turner just flew a tire there.
Caught a rut. We'll say caught a rut.
Back to Turner. Turner into the corner for Burgeon. Back to Turner. Brett McLean knocks it down, trying to find Mackey. Here's Turner with it. Brandon Turner over to Adam Place. Place tries it from a sharp angle, can't beat Dupuis. And Brett McLean back with it. Looking for Mackey on the far side. Bouncing puck. Jackson corrals it for the Bees. Jordan Reed all the way down at the... And nice save there from Dupuis on the tip from Jordan Reed. Reed curls back.
That was a nice play by the Bees, but an even better save.
And there nice tip there from Wiseman, and the Bees have tied this one up.
And I think that comes back to that patient play that we've seen from the Bees so far this game, just making smart, calculated plays, and it pays off for them. And even denied on a big save by Dupuis there, who's been more than held his own for Guelph.
Yep.
We maybe don't talk about him as much because of some of the other names on this team, but he's done a great job for this team as well.
Chris Chappell controls it. Theo Peckham. Chappell, nice play in his skates. Chris Chappell gets it. Can't get a shot off, though. Nice closeout there by Kelly Jackson. Chappell gets it back, though, on the boards. Finds McLean. Wiseman curls back. Rob Quit with it. Quit over to...
I think teams are starting to realize in this, too, that how valuable puck possession is in this game.
Burgeon with Reed. Tries to beat Dupuis 5-hole. Reed trying to bat it in. Almost got it to go. You mentioned it, Ian. The Bees are content to...
They're really spreading the ice.
Control the puck, spread the ice, and make sure they retain possession. Maybe not give the Brewers team a chance to go on the offensive. Here's Burgeon, and he scores! So nice puck possession there for the Bees, able to work it around and get a goal. And they are now up 3-2.
And that might be the one Dupuis wants back. But again, that puck possession pays off for the Bees there. Just being patient, making the smart play, not forcing anything.
And they have another 2-on-1 here.
Nice
Nice glove there from Dupuis to keep this a 1-goal game. Kennedy charging in. Kennedy, nice little move. Brandon Turner pushes him off the puck, and the Bees retain possession. Rob Quitt out with it, the Memorial Cup champ. Fires it on net, just wide. Quitt over to Turner. Brandon Turner, the captain.
You got to think a game like this is so perfect for a guy like Rob Quitt as an offensive defenseman. You kind of just get out there and kind of get to freewheel a little bit. But he's so valuable to their team in the sense that he also still has the defensive ability, but is such a threat on offense.
Tapper fires one. Nice save there from Blair. And Wiseman away, but Dupuis comes out to cut him off. So Tapper with it to Chris Chappell, over to Mackey, who loses it. Chappell picks it up. Turnover there, Jackson with it. And here comes Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed on the break. Reed trying to let that slap shot go and just misses the 5-hole. He was about to shoot a slap shot from the middle of the slot.
I think Mackey got a piece of him on the way back to kind of disrupt that. But did that not slide 5-hole and just miss the net?
Yeah, just missed the net.
Like, he had him beat.
And here's Reed back with it. Kennedy, the only one back. 2 minutes left here. Bees with a 1-goal lead. Rob Quitt over. Fires it on net. Rob Quitt, as we talked about, the Bees spreading the ice out, retaining possession.
Now you get to the point where Guelph now has to start taking some chances and up some pressure a little bit.
And they got Rob Quitt all the way down the other end, but nice play from Matt Kennedy to break that up.
You could see Kennedy almost just baited him into making that pass.
Brewers with it now. Kennedy.
We call that the 3-on-3 trap or what?
We might have to. Chappell controls it. Over to Miles McLean. And here comes Brett McLean. McLean trying to tie it up for the Brewers, and he runs into the net. McLean and Blair crashed into each other. Clock still running. Some valuable time ticking off, but it does stop with 1 minute to go in a 1-goal in any game. So the Brewers need a goal here in the final minute. Kennedy getting tangled up there with a Bees player. Here's Turner. Turner with it. Turner fires it to Dupuis. Dupuis plays it up to Brett McLean. And Dupuis coming down. And the Brewers have pulled their goalie. Matt Kennedy muscles place off the puck down to Chappell. Burgeon fires it down. 20 seconds left. One last chance for the Brewers.
Heads up.
Brewers, I think, are going to argue for a little more time back on that clock. Puck drop, though, happened. 10 seconds left. Last chance. Brett McLean has it, and it just off his reach. And here we go. A penalty shot in the dying seconds.
Does the clock run for this penalty shot?
We'll have to see. Matt Kennedy, the best player for the Guelph Brewers so far. Brewers making sure all the chasers are behind the line.
And Chappell's just going to go right across the line and rub all three of them out.
And here we go.
No, they're going to restart.
Oh, they're going to redo it.
False start.
Bunch of the guys jawing at each other.
The boys having a couple words. Theo Peckham probably not the guy I'd want to be having words with. But
no. Here we go. Matt Kennedy with the game on his stick. And he scores to tie it up.
So the clock didn't run.
No run off, but the Brewers tie it.
But then it did.
With
It
3.9 left. So we're going to,
What a doozy that was.
barring a miracle here at center, but who knows? Here we go. Jackson with a chance to. Oh, and Reed, maybe if there's a few more ticks left on the clock would have a chance, but we're going to overtime. The Bees and Brewers.
We told you this one would get a little chippy, and there's some words being exchanged out here.
Yeah, it seemed both teams didn't like the way the others handled the chaser situation.
No, and that's just the competitive spirit, a little bit of cash on the line, and the boys are a little antsy off the blue line there.
So a spot in the finals here in overtime. 10 minutes sudden death overtime. First goal wins. Bees and Brewers with a spot in the finals on the line.
You can't say enough, though, about Matt Kennedy.
Yeah.
He has got to have been the Brewers' best player, hands down. And since the very first game at that.
Over 120 games played in the American Hockey League. He was a 5th-round pick of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he has been the Brewers' best player through,
if not one of the best players in the entire 3HL. I mean, he's been just so impactful.
And here we go, Burgeon with a chance to win it and rings it off the bar. The crowd gasping at that one, inches away from putting the Bees into the finals. Chappell with it now, Chris Chappell. Brett Mackey swings in to get the puck. Mackey. Chappell fires it. David Blair turns it away.
Oh, a bit of a snow job there from Brett Mackey.
Quit didn't like that. And here Matt Kennedy hits the ice, the guy who tied it with seconds left. Nice play in. Reed just hits the side of the net.
He got a piece of that. He did tip it, though.
Nice play there from Dupuis. Puck just out of the reach of Kennedy. Rob Quit back to retrieve it for the Bees. Brandon Turner over to Quit. Quit makes a nice little move. And Jackson was charging the net there, yeah. So Matt Kennedy plays it off the boards to Brett McLean. McLean blows a tire, keeps the puck though, and Guelph retains possession, which is just as important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been the key to success for the Bees so far in this one.
Brett McLean just going to let one fly. Kennedy blocks it, shoves into Blair. Turner wants a call. Nothing's going to go. Play continues the other way. Wiseman with it. Wiseman over to Adam Place. Place just going to fire it. Dupuis turns it aside. And nice big hit there from Anthony Tapper. And here we go, 2-on-1. Kennedy and McLean. Kennedy keeps.
Nice save.
Nice save there from Blair. Kennedy going to keep it, though. Back to Tapper. Tapper puts it on. Tip just wide. Kennedy to Tapper.
You can see now both teams on defense just, maybe not necessarily as worried about the puck, just trying to take bodies.
Matt Kennedy over to Theo Peckham. Kennedy needs a change. Miles McLean has it back to Peckham. Brewers complete the change. Theo Peckham over to Miles McLean. He blows by Reed. Reed gets a stick on it, though. And here's Brett Mackey. Mackey keeps the puck. Miles McLean all the way back to Theo Peckham. Here's Miles McLean.
And as the game gets extended here, you got to start to wonder about the guy's legs and how much of that BioSteel they drank in between games.
And, we talked about this last time. There was when Kitchener played London in the semifinals, it affected London in the finals. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure the Saints and the 88s want them to go forever. Over to Chappell. Chappell to Mackey. Mackey can't finish the open net. Chappell to Theo Peckham. Peckham.
Oh,
nice diving play from Reed. Peckham fires it wide, bounces off a Bees player. I think that hit Reed in the arm, and he goes to the bench. Chris Chappell. Chappell curls, fires it high. Here we go. Rob Quitt one-on-one with Theo Peckham. Rob Quitt just hammers it.
See, and I think that's the kind of play you make when guys start to get tired.
And here's Wiseman. Wiseman plays trying to tip in. Back the other way come the Brewers. Chappell needs a change. Brett McLean here with it. McLean shot does not get into them as high as the meshing. Nice hit there from Tapper. And you mentioned it, Ian, as this overtime has gone on, you've seen a lot more guys stop with the stick check and hit the body. Adam Place causes Kennedy to turn it over. Here we go, Rob Quitt. Quitt down low to Place. Back to Rob Quitt. Quitt fires it wide in the crowd gasping. Wiseman in front. Place gets it. Place. Nice stop from Dupuis. It's in the stomach of Tapper, and he gets it back. And here comes Matt Kennedy, who sent it to overtime on a penalty shot. Penalty call with 3 seconds left. Kennedy fires one just wide, and here we go. Jordan Reed the other way. Reed wires one. Nice stop there from Dupuis. And a counterattack from the Brewers, 2-on-2. Kennedy creates some space, fires it along the ice. And partial 2-on-1, Burgeon and Turner. Burgeon crosses in. Turner scores! Brandon Turner squeaks one past Dupuis, and the Toronto Bees are going to the finals. What an overtime period.
I'm in shock.
And the Toronto Bees, and I don't think the Brewers can believe it either. You can see them hunched over.
Does the shoe fit?
It
The Cinderella
just squeaks
story.
through in the Toronto Bees. Brandon Turner, who was so electric in the first game, sends his team to the finals and puts $2,000 in their pockets.
And the Guelph Brewers now upset in 2 tournaments in a row in the semifinals.
Yeah, they can't seem to get past this second round, but what a game. Brewers tie it with just under 5 seconds to go.
You know, as much as the Toronto Bees, spoil the Brett McLean homecoming, there's a lot of local boys on this Toronto team as well. So, they were coming out and playing hard, and it paid off. And you could tell such a strategic and calculated win from the Toronto Bees. They valued every shift out there in that game. You could tell how important each shift was to them in that game. They were very smart and they were very patient. They tried to dominate possession, and you can even see the 88s high-fiving them on the way off, maybe suggesting Guelph is the villains of the league. But the one good thing I will say about that is at least with them going to overtime, they're the first semifinal.
Yeah.
So they do have a bit of time to recover.
Yeah, that's true. Last time the Threes played in overtime and then bounced right back to the finals. So here we go in the second semifinal. Hopefully it's as electric as the first one. The hometown Oshawa 88s taking on the Newmarket Saints. Both these teams very impressive in their wins. The 88s down early to the Markham Millionaires, able to come back. Newmarket took on the London Threes in the first game and pulled away late, putting on a bit of an offensive show late in the second half. Ian, when you look at these two teams, what's the matchup you're looking for?
I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. For one, I think Mike McDonald's going to have to have a big one in this one. Jimmy Sargent, I think you kind of know what you're going to get from him. He's got all the accolades for a reason. But this Oshawa team has shown in all their games that they can score. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. The one thing they do not lack is scoring. They've got some size. They've got some speed. They just got to keep the puck out of their net. And then this is the Newmarket team.
We picked them.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say we're rooting for them, but I think that, to prove that, I think this is a team that thought they were a big-time contender coming into this. And I think this is a good chance for them to prove it.
And I think we can't underestimate, the 88s were so impressive in their first game.
Yeah.
We saw, a lot of guys come. Steven Scholing, he was spectacular. Mitch Scott got them on the board got them back on track. Taylor Fielding, Todd Hosmer was electric on the back end, and you could tell he had just kind of finish pro hockey.
You know what, as well, the one thing about Hosmer is we talked about this is his first time, or his first appearance with the 88s this weekend, but he seemed to fit right in and seemed to adjust very well to the 3-on-3 format. This is a Newmarket team that's now got a couple games under their belt together of 3-on-3 hockey, not just their various appearances with the Newmarket Hurricanes, but I think we can expect a lot of goals in this one. I still can't get over that last game, though. That might have been the best game we've seen so far. Besides maybe the championship in Toronto.
The overtime was electric, and I expect this one to be more of the same as we have the Newmarket Saints taking on the Oshawa 88s for a chance to play the Toronto Bees in the final of the 3HL Tour Oshawa Classic. Dalton Finkbeiner with Ian Duffy here. We're very excited for this second semifinal.
One thing I will say as well about Oshawa is that game against Markham, if it wasn't for Daryl Rotham, they could have ran away with that game even more than they did.
Yeah, no, the 88s were jumping from the get-go. They had the most of the puck possession in that game, so we'll see how this one shakes down. The 88s also have the crowd behind them here at the Tribute Community Center. So puck drop just seconds away from on the second semifinal here. The Newmarket Saints taking on the Oshawa 88s. And here an early 2-on-1. Johnston with McKinnon. Johnston can't find McKinnon on the 2-on-1. And Todd Hosmer controls it for the 88s. Taylor Fielding in the corner battling with Davies. Chris McKinnon, captain and leader of this Saints team. McKinnon over to, what a save from McDonald. Johnston with a sharp angle, able to almost beat McDonald there. Johnston now back the other way. Johnston trying to chip it over, diving for it. McDonald pokes it away. And here's the 88s with a 2-on-1. Leah hits the side of the net. Over to Scholig, who was impressive. Stephen Scholig was very impressive in the first game for the 88s. And Jimmy Sargent makes a nice little save on a harmless-looking play. And here's Kevin Jarman. Jarman back with it. He scores! What a shot from Kevin Jarman. 1-0 Saints.
That's one thing I was just going to say was that for all the credit we've given Oshawa on the offensive end, one thing we haven't seen from them in either game is they haven't been very steady on the back end. You know, they've given up a lot of chances. I think they're going to have to make a more concerted effort on defense if they're going to compete in this one.
Oh, and here we're going to get a penalty. Leah, I think that was. Now 2-on-1 here for the Saints. Buys, keeps, and scores! Nice play there from PJ Buys, and 2-0 Saints early on.
You know, when a guy dives like that to take away the shot, I thought it was I think everyone thought it was an obvious pass across, but we thought wrong.
We saw this in the first game. The Saints jumped out early to a 2-0 lead. Threes were able to get back into it. We'll see if that happens here. Saints control it. Had the puck most of this early on in this game. McKinnon curls back.
I think all these games have proven that an early deficit is nothing.
Doesn't
mean much, really, but it does kind of put you on your heels a little bit, but it doesn't mean you're out of it by any means.
What a move there from Chris McKinnon. McKinnon can't finish off the play, but we see the skill there from the OHL top 10 scorer. Here's McKinnon, 3-on-1. Gets pushed off the puck, captain on captain, Mitch Scott. Here's Fielding. Fielding fires it. Nice block there. And here's Todd Hosmer. Johnston turns it over. Johnston able to keep it. Jarman waiting for it. Jarman gets it back to Johnston. Can't finish off that play. Jarman was open a lot earlier. I don't know if Johnston saw him.
I think it was just maybe too long of a pass.
Yeah. Hosmer tips it. Nice
save
there from Jimmy Sargent. And Steven Johnston back with it.
That's the one thing about those one-timers. If it gets to a point where if you have to pass it so far across the ice, it almost takes away the element of the one-timer. The goalie can just track it that easily.
Here's Jarman with it. We've seen him have a shot. Buys, no look, fires it. McDonald up to the task. Todd Hosmer all the way for DeLeon. And he sneaks it 5-hole. What a goal. Just squeaks it by Jimmy Sargent, and it's 2-1.
If this was soccer, they'd be calling that one cheeky.
Yeah, that was cheeky.
That was the definition of cheeky. Because Jimmy Sargent had him the whole way. But good patience there to just wait till he opened up the 5-hole a little bit.
And the Saints right back on the attack. Davies fake shot. Trickles it into McDonald.
McDonald might actually be right up there as far as the goalies on the tour that, play the puck the most.
Yep.
He's very active once he makes a save, always looking to fire it up ice.
Oshawa, we mentioned, did overcome a 2-goal deficit. The Markham Millionaires were up 2-0 on them early on, and they came back to win that game. So they're used to coming from behind. Newmarket controls. Davies.
Even that game with Kitchener was a bit of a seesaw battle,
yeah,
if I remember
on New Year's Day, it was back and forth as well. Davies barreling in. Chris McKinnon back with it. McKinnon controls it. Chris McKinnon, nice little move. What a goal from Chris McKinnon. Wow. What a play by the Saints captain.
I don't care how many hockey schools you go to, you cannot teach that. That is just natural ability right there.
What a goal from Chris McKinnon to give his team back their 2-goal advantage. Minute and a half left here in the first half of the second semifinal. Saints lead the 88s 3-1. And here comes Buys. Buys has McKinnon. Buys waits, fires it high and wide. Funny bounce though. McKinnon gets it back to Buys, and he sneaks one past McDonald. So as we saw in the first game, Saints starting to pull away here.
I tell you, even on that McKinnon goal, the Oshawa crowd couldn't help but
that was
let out a couple wows.
That was some play, and here back another 2-on-1. Buys with Jarman. Jarman just steers it wide of the post. Jarman controls it, 2 Buys. Here's Jarman again. Nice little move. Kevin Jarman almost gets it to Johnston. Nice play there from the 88's defender. And Todd Hosmer away with it. 88's in desperate need of a goal with fielding. But Jimmy Sargent gets it quickly, and Johnston one-on-one with Scholig. Scholig got a long reach. Interrupts Johnston there all the way back to the other end of the ice. Jimmy Sargent has it just less than 10 seconds left here in the first half. Sargent content just to hold it. So at the end of half number 1 in semifinal number 2, the Newmarket Saints are up 4-1 on the 88s. Ian, we saw the offensive prowess there of this Newmarket Saints team, and Chris McKinnon scoring a highlight reel goal.
Well, we talked about it coming in that, Oshawa, if they wanted to compete in this game, we've obviously thought they had the ability to do so. But it was going to only happen if they were a little bit more responsible in their own end. Mm-hmm. And they weren't, quite frankly. And Newmarket is such a dangerous team that they showed their ability to score in bunches like that, too.
Yeah.
And that Chris McKinnon goal was just, I don't even know if I have the words for that, but that was something else. And then it was almost like an onslaught in the sense that Newmarket just kept coming.
Yep.
There was no chance for Oshawa to breathe.
Yep. What I've noticed, especially with Newmarket, is right off the opening faceoff, there's a way to get a quick 2-on-1 if you can win the draw ahead and get your guys pinching up. So watch for that as the day goes on. But second half about to start here. The 88s need 3 goals to get back into this one.
I think if Oshawa gets one here rather quickly, they're okay.
Yeah.
Then that kind of eases the sense of urgency a little bit, but Only 7 minutes.
Yep, 7 minutes left here. One of these teams is going to the finals for the first time. Little jostling on the draw. Both teams want to call. I don't know which one's going to get it. Scholig waiting for Mitch Scott. Scott gets it in front. So a bit of chippiness, and there's a big hit from Davies. Scott and Davies run into each other.
That's the one thing that, you know, we maybe don't necessarily talk about as much, but for all the points that these guys have put up in their careers, there's a lot of guys that have their fair share of penalty minutes.
And there's a big hit there. Mitch Scott running into it. Scholig with it. He had 2 goals in their first game.
There's not too many guys in this league that are going to back down, I'll tell you that much.
88s have it in the offensive zone. Scholig has it in front. Puck bouncing. Jimmy Sargent makes a nice save there. Chris McKinnon controls it for the Saints, trying to find player all the way down the ice. What a save from McDonald. And here come the 88s back the other way. So here early on, we're seeing a lot of open play. And Jarman and McKinnon off on a 2-on-1. Kevin Jarman with Chris McKinnon. Over to McKinnon, and he scores on the backhand. Chris McKinnon, another beauty.
That's just too easy for Chris McKinnon. That's he could do that in his sleep.
So Saints open up a 4-goal lead.
And that is just an example of the classic what we've been talking about. When you get down by a couple goals, you got to start taking some chances. But because of the odd man tendency of this format, as soon as you give up, you don't cash in on a chance one way, it's coming right back the other way. So
McKinnon almost found Johnston there, pinching in. PJ Buys fires it. McKinnon almost tips that on goal. All the skills of Chris McKinnon on full display right now. And as we see in Oshawa trying to open up this long entry pass, and the Saints taking another way with it. Here's a partial 2-on-1. High and wide. Fielding gets it back for the 88s. Turns, and he has it now. Fielding has Hosmer. But here comes Buys, 1-on-1. Saints 2-on-1 here. And there's another goal for the Newmarket Saints, 6-1.
See,
looks like the Saints are on their way to the finals. The 88's going to need a few goals to get back in this.
Yeah, the thing is about those long entry passes is that when there's too many guys in this league that can cover so much space in such a short amount of time. So it's tough for you to, even though the ice seems so open in some instances, for you to throw a long pass from your own zone to the far blue line, there's just too many guys that are too rangy. They're just going to pick that pass off or at least deflect it.
88's captain Mitch Scott comes in. Nice little move by Scott, and Scott robbed there by Sargent. Puck caught in between his equipment, finds it.
And that's the frustrating thing, and one of the things I think makes Newmarket so dangerous is having a guy like Jimmy Sargent in net, is that when you're trying to stage a comeback like this, you know, you're kind of hoping you maybe get a couple bounces, something along those lines. With a guy like Jimmy Sargent in net, you're not going to get too many freebies.
The Saints get a cross-checking penalty on the 88s, and Chris McKinnon's going to get a breakaway. Don't know if that's the guy you want.
Not the recipe for a comeback.
No, I don't know if that's the guy you want taking the penalty shot. So here we go, Chris McKinnon. McKinnon in all alone. Nice save there from McDonald, so McKinnon can't finish off the hat trick on the breakaway.
That was good recognition by McDonald. He's beat him backhand a couple times now.
Yeah, the first 2 goals were backhand. He was ready for that one. Leah with it. Fires it on McKinnon. Trying to spring Jarman, but 88's defender knocks it down. 88's control it now. Nice save there from Sargent, and we've been saying it all afternoon. Jimmy Sargent on his game today. And there he is. Hits it off his shoulder into his own glove. McKinnon to Jarman, 2-on-1. Jarman with Davies. Jarman pulls over the 88's defender.
You know what? Often we've given Dave Davenport maybe the credit for having maybe the most decorated goalie resume of of all the goalies in this league, but it's
what a hit there from Hosmer on Johnston, throws him to the ground.
And I think it's kind of almost an apples and oranges comparison between those two.
Johnston in all alone. Johnston through the legs.
Nice
Great save there from McDonald. Johnston trying to go in between the legs, the old Merrick Malik.
Those guys trying to make the highlight reel.
So Saints control it in the corner. Newmarket Saints with a 3-on-1. Can't find Hovassian. And here's Scholig on the break. Scholig, tons of time. And Sargent with another great save. Jimmy Sargent has definitely been on his game today. Chris McKinnon with the puck. Last minute of play here. The Newmarket Saints controlling play. McKinnon can't finish off the hat trick. 2-on-1. Leo with Scholig. Scholig in the high slot. And he squeaks one by Jimmy Sargent.
Good patient play by Leo there.
Nice goal from the 88s. Too little, too late, though.
Try to make the score a little bit more respectable.
As the Saints are well on their way to the finals, they'll take on the Toronto Bees. Just 40 seconds left here in the second semifinal. Oshawa 88s had were fantastic in their first game after losing early on in the New Year's Day Classic. A lot to build on here for the 88s.
Oh, absolutely. I think they just need to tighten things up on the back end. I mean, obviously they didn't light up the scoreboard in this game, but they still had some chances. I mean, obviously Jimmy Sargent's a really good goalie. I think they could maybe take more of a puck possession approach.
Yeah.
Because they are, like we talked about before, they're pretty run and gun.
Final seconds here. And that's it over. The Newmarket Saints win this one 6-2, and they're on their way to the finals of the Oshawa Classic. The hometown Oshawa 88s out in the semis, but they do get their first victory. Nothing to be ashamed of from the 88s. I'm sure we'll see them here again. So our final is set. The Newmarket Saints will take on the Toronto Bees for the Oshawa Classic title. Two teams that were eliminated early on in the first round. Actually, looking at the New Year's Day Classic, both these teams lost in the first round to the teams that met in the finals. The Brewers and the London Threes. So it's their turn now to get to the finals. Both teams have, as we saw in the first tournament, overtime played a bit of a factor, but the Toronto Bees went to overtime in the first semifinal. The Saints,
I think that's good for them that they got a bit of a chance to regroup.
No real advantage to either team. Both these teams should have the same energy level. And here we look. The Toronto Bees and the Newmarket Saints coming up in the finals of the Oshawa Showcase. We're going to have a flood of the ice. And when we return, we'll have the finals here at the Oshawa Showcase. You are watching the 3HL Tour.
Hi, I'm Matt Nickel from BioSteel Sports Nutrition. Here to talk to you a little bit today about proper nutrition and proper training for hockey players in the off season. So everybody knows that it's important for hockey players trained to be fast, to be explosive, to have great endurance, to have great strength. It's also extremely important that they stay on top of their nutrition and have proper nutritional habits. Our BioSteel HPSM is the healthiest, safest, and most effective sports drink on the market. It's a great way for professional athletes and regular Joes alike to stay healthy, to stay hydrated while they're training, while they're competing through a long, hard work day. maintains energy levels in a healthy and effective way, maintains focus and attention during a stressful period of time, whether that's during practice or at work, and also make sure that we stay healthy as we're training.
Davies now with it. Davies passes across. McKinnon buys
Nice
with
shot.
the goal. Nice play there by the Newmarket Saints. And more wide open than the first two. It seems that, as you said, Ian, these guys watching the first two games get a feel for the style of play. And there, the 88's first goal.
And this is a pretty move by Melanson. Comes in, kind of gives the fake, makes the goalie think he's going.
Was batted in another one there, Reed. A veteran in the OJHL. He had 179 points. Stevens now with a beautiful dish across. What a play there by Stevens. Played in the OHL. Boyle back with it now.
Oh, nice
and what
save.
a save from Camilleri to keep his team in it. Scholing robbed there. Here they go, Salt and Stevens. Oh, what a move there. It almost works out. Stevens. Peckham with it. Peckham looking for a high stick, not going to get one. And Jarman's going to go the other way for the Saints. Nice save there. Theo Peckham not happy after he felt he was high stick, but now he gets a breakaway. See if he can make good on it. Peckham with a beautiful move. The former Edmonton Oilers showing off some finesse.
Those hands are not just for punching people in the face.
It's a London zone. Wigmore trying to catch them on a change, and Salt just at a bad angle decided that Morgan gets it. And what is no goal? No goal. Davenport equaling Wigmore with a highlight reel save of his own.
Anything you can do, I can do better mentality.
And Messier wires one home. What action here. Big save on one end. And the Flyers go the other and make the threes pay.
This is an absolute cannon.
Fairbarn in. 3-on-1 for the Flyers. What a save by Daryl Rotham.
Unorthodox helmet, unorthodox style.
Yeah, what
I love
a
it.
glove save, flashing the leather there. Scheich there. Scheich angled by Ward. Now a 2-on-0. And what a stop there from Camilleri.
Pre-game right now, it looks like goals are going to be at a premium in this one.
Spivak can't beat Wigmore. Oh, what a glove save for Wigmore. Devine can't believe it. What a stop by the London Threes goaltender. Robs Devine. And that got the crowd going.
And that's a potential game saver right there.
That's the play of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
Point blank in here. Let's see if Devine can get it back. He's with Willer. And Wigmore again gets across. We talked about him, the role he had to play with this tired London Threes team, and he's doing it right now. Boleshta now in alone. Boleshta, and he scores a beauty. What a play by Lucas Boleshta. Welcome back to the Tribute Community Center. Dalton Finkbeiner here with Ian Duffy. The finals of the 3HL Tour Oshawa Showcase coming up. The Toronto Bees taking on the Newmarket Saints. Ian, these were two teams that exited early on in the New Year's Day Classic. Now here in the finals. What have you seen from these two teams that's impressed you today?
Well, we talked about it, how coming in, we thought, those teams that got knocked out in the first round of the first weekend, we're going to try and come in and have a sense of urgency right out of the gate, play with that cliche chip on their shoulder, if you will. And we talked about then how after Toronto got the first win, don't be satisfied, try to keep playing with that chip, because that in that first game against Kitchener, it was kind of the physical style, the chip, the energy that I thought really propelled them. And they came out and did the same thing against Guelph, but it was very controlled. Mm-hmm. I thought they did a great job of controlling the pace and kind of dictating the tempo of that game, not necessarily allowing Guelph to get going and get up and down the ice too much. So I thought that was a great job by them. And then on the other side, Newmarket's a team that I think came into this, although they hadn't won a game, because of their good showing against Guelph in the week one, I think Newmarket kind of came in with maybe a bit higher of expectations. Yeah. So I think they're a team that coming into this game, both teams, obviously getting their first wins today, but now I think the bar has been set a little higher. And now Markham's the only team that hasn't won a game. Yeah. I think that every team in this league now, I think, believes that coming into each given game with the right approach, they can win.
Both these teams got to the got through the semifinals in a bit of a different way.
Yeah.
The Toronto Bees in a nail-biter. The Guelph Brewers tie it on a penalty shot with 5 seconds to go. And then the captain, Brandon Turner, scores in overtime in what was an electric game. As for the Newmarket Saints, they didn't have many problems with the Oshawa 88s. Chris McKinnon's offensive tools were on full display. He scored a couple of highlight reel goals. Ian, who do you have in this one?
That's a good question, because
we both picked Newmarket in the previous show.
I mean, Newmarket, we've been kind of riding them pretty hard. The only other thing is, how badly do you want the Cinderella story for the Toronto Bees to go the distance? I mean, the crowd seems to be behind them.
Yeah.
But I think...
And both these rosters are packed with very talented, decorated junior players, professional players. These are two of the teams that have more of the impressive resumes in the league.
Absolutely. And I think that something that goes into that so much is that coming into this game, now, we weren't really sure, was Toronto going to be able to do it? Were they going to be able to turn it around? And they did right away. So I don't know, as much of that Cinderella story, does it keep carrying on?
Yep.
Because I would have said the same thing against Guelph.
Yeah.
I would have said, hey, there's really, I don't see a chance they could win this game.
Yeah.
But they came out, and they completely changed their approach. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was something, both games they've been very possession-oriented. Instead of, some teams are very boom or bust in the sense that they go breakaways or nothing. The Toronto Bees have done a great job, even at certain points, having their high guy out around center. Mm-hmm. Not being afraid to just, if nothing's working in the zone, fire it back out to center, regroup. I don't know if they'll keep that exact same approach, but it worked for them against Guelph. So they've shown that not only do they have the ability, but strategy-wise, they were able to wear Guelph down and find a way to get the job done.
One thing I'm going to be looking for is the Bees were a lot more physical in their first game than they were in their second game.
Yeah.
But when you're taking on a team like the Guelph Brewers who have the size, you might not be able to impose that physical component. So we'll see Brandon Turner led the way for them. So we'll see if they can do that. And on the other side, if Chris McKinnon can continue his dominant play, he was so electric against the 88s, and you see him here bouncing a puck on his stick for about 10 minutes. So his skill is on full display. It's going to be very interesting. And, one guys we haven't even got to yet are both goalies.
Absolutely.
David Blair, very good goalie in the OJHL. He also played for York for 42 games. So he's definitely no slouch in the net. And then the other end of the ice, it's Jimmy Sargent, one of the guys, we may consider him maybe the best goalie in the league. Hobie Baker finalist, played for Mercyhurst. He has been fantastic today.
You know what? And today we spell redemption Blair, if you ask me, because he has been outstanding. He's been a big factor for them. And that spells Blair, by the way, for all you spelling bee champions out there. But I thought he's been great today, and he's had to be.
Yeah.
I think we knew coming into today that he was going to have to be better than he was in that performance against London. But I think one of the things that went into that we've been very particular in saying, obviously Blair, thought he could have had a couple of those goals back against London. But it was a team effort because they just gave up too many easy tap-in backdoor goals. And I think their team effort defensively today has just been absolutely night and day.
Yeah.
So I think for them, that's been a huge part of Blair's success. He made some big saves. It was good to see that he didn't let the penalty shot right before overtime rattle him. He still made some saves in OT to give them a chance for Turner to score the winner. And then at the other end, I think Jimmy Sargent, we see a lot of unorthodox goalies in this league. I would say Jimmy Sargent may be one of the most fundamentally sound goalies on the tour. He's a guy that I think you can expect pretty consistently to get a good performance from him. And what I was going to say in the last game was, say you compare a guy like Dave Davenport to a guy like Jimmy Sargent. Here in Canada, you might want to say, hey, Dave Davenport, played his share of games for Cape Breton in the Q. A very good goalie. And on the other side, Jimmy Sargent doesn't have that CHL experience, but on the Hobie Baker list at Mercyhurst, as a D1 goalie, some people, I don't know if the NCAA necessarily gets the respect it deserves up here, but that's no slouch by any means, especially being on the Hobie Baker list. This is a guy that can have an impact and steal games. I just think that's kind of an apples to oranges comparison.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree on that or not.
No, I agree. I think Jimmy Sargent's definitely proven today that he is one of the better goalies in the league. Another guy who's stood out to me today is Kevin Jarman for the Newmarket Saints. Played at UMass Amherst, 135 games. He had 61 points. He also had a decorated career with Stouffville in the Ontario Junior A League, and he actually played a few games in the American Hockey League, and he's shown off his shot today. He scored a couple very nice goals, so definitely a B's on the scouting report. I'm sure they know he's a shooter. And on the other side of the ice, a guy that I expect to see a lot from now is Jordan Reed, and he might not have the stats to show, but he's created a ton of chances. Always dangerous when he has the puck. So both these teams have guys that can,
and a lot of good
game breakers.
Yeah, and a lot of good energy plays from Jordan Reed as well that I think have led to other opportunities. One of the things that I think the Bees have to keep doing to kind of compete here with Newmarket or give themselves the best chance to win, I would say, is they've been very physical as we get ready for puck drop here, but they've been very physical. You see a guy like Chris McKinnon likes to do a lot of dancing through the middle, as does the rest of this Newmarket team. If the Bees can just be physical with them, as you see a hit there, just try to knock them off stride a little bit, I think that'll go a long way for them.
And the Bees coming out early physical. So here we go. Finals of the Oshawa Showcase, the 3HL Tour. The Newmarket Saints and the Toronto Bees both looking for their first titles. Both teams on a road to redemption after being knocked out in the first round on New Year's Day. Chris McKinnon almost tips that home, but Blair up to the task. David Blair, the former York Lion, with a great save there. All the way down to Jordan Reed, a great career at Curry College in NCAA. Here's a little 2-on-1. Buys all alone. Buys cannot beat Blair. And there's a big hit there from the Newmarket Saints. Here's Adam Place in all alone. Adam Place beats Jimmy Sargent. What a move by Adam Place.
And Rob Quitt took a big hit to make that play.
Yep.
And then he had some choice words for Newmarket on his way off.
So the Toronto Bees early on with a 1-0 lead. We've seen the Saints typically be the ones to jump out on top, but the Bees here.
We've said multiple times how the Bees, they were really rattled after they got beaten by London in the opener. And I think they have made such a concerted effort to completely just change and revamp their strategy. I mean, you even see them from game to game against Guelph.
Saints in all alone, fires it wide. Blair.
Against Guelph, their puck possession. Now you're seeing them stretch the ice here.
And here's Place again with it. Place already with one. Nice play there from Jarman. Reed wanted a call. And here we go, Kevin Jarman. to Chris McKinnon. McKinnon, too much time, too much dancing from McKinnon. Had tons of time to shoot it, and here we go. Burgeon on the other end. Burgeon scores, same move as Place, nice move. And the Bees are up 2-0 early on. So we pumped Jimmy Sargent's tires. Unfortunately, he gets hung out to dry twice.
Yeah, there's not much you could do about that, but I still think...
yeah, I think...
Newmarket's given up 2 big chances right now. They got to do a better job of having a high guy stay back.
And Rob Quitt with a nice little move there. Quitt over to Jordan Reed, and what a rocket shot. Ref says it didn't go in. Nice little give and go there from the Beast. Jarman wants it, McKinnon, and here we go again. Jordan Reed on the break. Chris McKinnon putting pressure on him. Reed gonna fake the slap shot, tries to slide it in.
That's twice now he's done that.
Yeah, maybe he knew that people have been thinking he's gonna use the slap shot. Davies trying to get a stick on it, can't. So we've seen the physical play turned up here in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
PJ Buys played for Newmarket, of course, in the OJHL.
Well, Rob Quitt really didn't like that first hit of the game that he took, and he's been dishing out some punishment ever since.
And here's Buys. Buys has it in his skates, tries to wrap it, but Blair flopped on the ice. Yeah.
Teams are looking body first right now.
Yeah. Hovanesian with the one who delivered that hit on Quick. He's been taking the brunt of the Bees' physical play. Here he is with the puck, fires it on net.
You can see how those couple wins and a little bit more moolah in their pockets has the Bees playing with just a lot more confidence.
And there's Chris McKinnon. He also a slap shot specialist on New Year's Day with Jordan Reed. Takes one, fires it wide. Here's Turner. Turner watching McKinnon. Jarman with it now. Kevin Jarman, the UMass Amherst alum. All alone, fires one wide. 2.5 minutes to go here in the first half. 2-0 for the Toronto Bees. Chris McKinnon and the Newmarket Saints. Jarman to
Nice
Johnson.
play.
Johnson, nice little move. Nice hit there. Jarman pressures. And here we see it from the Bees that we saw in the first 2 games, the puck control game, making sure that their team always has the puck, and Burgeon unmarked all the way at the other end. And a nice move there. And it's 3-0 for the Bees.
And you got to give credit to David Blair on that one. He gets the apple on that one for a big kickstart to the offense there. But Jimmy Sargent, I think he just kind of got sick of being getting the brakes slammed on him there, so he decided to be the aggressor on that one, just not quick enough.
Yeah, David Blair with a fantastic outlet pass. Big primary assist there. So it's 3-0 Bees, a minute to go in the first half of this final here at the Oshawa, the Tributes Community Center. Newmarket in desperate need of a goal to get back into this one. Hovanesian controls it.
And let's not forget, though, this is a Newmarket team that can score in bunches here.
Buys, centers it. And here's Rob Quitt.
But it's just so obvious.
To Place, and Place fires it high and wide.
It's just such a difference, and Jimmy Sargent's bounced back with a couple big saves here. But it's such an obvious difference for the Bees, when they make this commitment to team defense.
Yep.
They're way tougher to beat, and it's just so tough to get good scoring chances.
Adam Place, nice knockdown there from Davies, and here goes a 2-on-1 for the Newmarket Saints. Desperate in need of a goal, 20 seconds left. Just a shot, and Blair handles that, and that might do it for the first half. I think the Bees are content to keep this one 3-0 for the time being. An impressive first half from the Toronto Bees. Captain Brandon Turner urging his boys to keep going. They took advantage of a lot of Newmarket mistakes and didn't miss any of their chances. And we saw in the third goal, David Blair, what we talked about in the pre-show, the goalies being active and how big a role they play.
Yeah, and David Blair, I think, because he tried it in the first game a little bit and it kind of caught up to him, he's still been doing it throughout the day. But I think that confidence now for him after getting the 2 wins has gone a long way. And you see him without hesitation make that big long outlet pass, basically dot to dot, from crease to the far dot, and give his team a little bit of insurance right now with a 3-0 lead. But you got to think there's a bit of a punchback coming here from Newmarket. So we'll see what Chris McKinnon and the Saints can get up to here in the second half.
Yep, 7 minutes left here at the Tribute Community Center. The Toronto Bees lead the Newmarket Saints 3-0 here in the finals of the Oshawa Showcase, the 3HL Tour. Both teams eliminated in the first round on New Year's Day, but back here in the finals trying to get the title and $3,000. So here we go, final 7 minutes of the day. Jackson with it now. Jackson just fires it towards the net. Davies controls it. Can't find his man. And the Bees control it. Finding Jordan Reed. Reed with that slap shot. Tries to go far side. Just misses.
He's not shy to let that thing fly, that's for sure.
Blair with a nice shoulder save there. And Reed has Wiseman in all alone. Wiseman and Sargent up to the task that time. And here goes Jarman and buys the other way. 2-on-1. Reed tired. Jarman, what a glove save from Blair. And the Bees are back the other way. Kovacian curls. Wires it. Blair has been amazing so far in this finals. Buys. Steers it in. Reed definitely needs a change.
Yeah, he's a dead man walking out there on the ice right now.
See if that comes back to haunt him. Johnston with it now, controlling it. To Buys. Great stop there from Blair. And the Bees get it down on the ice and able to get the change. So David Blair, the former York Lion, standing on his head here early in the second half to keep his team's 3-goal lead intact.
And Newmarket can finally get Chris McKinnon on the ice here.
Yeah, Chris McKinnon. Something up his sleeve, hopefully, for the Saints. To Johnston. Bees have 2 men back, though. You can see their adjustment. Johnston, Saints want to call, and that's off.
And the clock will run.
Just about to say, when those plays happen, it's an advantage to the team with the lead because this is just going to run and run until they can get reset. You've seen the Bees make an adjustment here with the lead. Now they have 2 guys. It seems they have 2 guys back all the time. They're content to have this 3-goal lead. Maybe push it with numbers here, but Turner, and there they have 2 guys back. And Turner just plays it all. And there we go. Too many men on the ice, it looks like. So maybe this is the spark the Saints need to get back on track.
Surprise. And Newmarket has 4 guys on the ice. Now they have 2.
So trying to figure it out.
Bit of a miscommunication.
So the Saints need a goal here. And it just trickles past Blair.
I know that wasn't the way he drew it up, but that was a pretty move nonetheless.
Yeah. So the Saints are on the board, 3-1 with 3.5 minutes to go. And that's kind of the range you want it to be in. You know, we've seen 2 goals deficits get erased in the blink of an eye. 3's a little taller of a task, but now back to 2 goals. Saints still going to have to be aggressive. Rob Quitt curls in. Quitt gets it to Bergen, and there they get it right back.
That could be the dagger.
And the Bees are ecstatic as they restore their 3-goal advantage.
I was just about to say that.
And here comes Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed tries to do the old Peter Forsberg. Sargent up to the task. And the star of the game so far has definitely been David Blair, shutting out this high-powered Newmarket offense. Johnston down to Hovassian. And there's a nice play by Memorial Cup champ Rob Quitt.
And you can tell the Bees are just trying to get fresh legs on the ice for the rest of this game.
Yeah, they've been quick changing. Buys, we'll have to see if Newmarket goes kind of all out here. And Rob Quitt's all alone, but Johnston knocks it down. They got a 3-on-2. 2-on-1 now. Johnston, nice play there. But Jarman with a nice little move. Gets it over to Johnston. Johnston back down low to Jarman. 2 minutes to go here.
Could this potentially be the first game we've seen where a team hasn't scored an even strength goal?
Yeah, it could be. But still plenty of time for this Saints team. Johnston makes a nice little move. He's got some ice.
Nice
what a
save.
save from David Blair. He has been fantastic here in this finals. And he keeps this 3-goal lead intact. Turner. So Adam Place.
And
Turner.
as I'm seeing some of the Bees' friends celebrate out in the crowd there, I'm wondering, are they thinking first rounds on these guys tonight?
Yeah, maybe. Davies over, and what a goal there from the Saints, so not quite over yet. A minute to go, and it looks like the Saints are taking a timeout. So 1 minute left. The Saints need 2 goals. Jimmy Sargent might be coming out of the net.
Yeah, I think as soon as they get the puck, he'll be gone.
Yeah. So
depends how confident they are in their draw man, I guess.
Door isn't quite closed yet on the Saints. But David Blair has been fantastic for the Bees so far. He's made a few highlight reel saves in this finals.
So far of this game, he's been the MVP. I think you have to give it to him.
Yep. I would agree with you there. He's been fantastic. And, you know, as we talked about, all these teams so evenly matched. There's a couple breakdowns by the Saints lead to chances the other way for the Bees, and that's the difference right now. But still a minute to go. Chris McKinnon and Jordan Reed on the draw. And here comes the Bees with it, and they just might be content to try to keep the puck. And there they are.
And then they can just ice it whenever they want to, if they have to.
So great puck control here from the Bees. They've been doing this all day.
Yeah, this has really been the story of the day for them.
And there they get the odd man rush. Reed on a partial break. Fires one, so 30 seconds left.
Now Sargent will go.
Maybe too many men there. Oh, and the Saints are going to get a break, but
just give them the puck.
I don't know, but the Bees might not touch it, so.
You just got to shoot it. Give them the puck.
Okay, so with clocks ran off a few seconds. So we're going to have a penalty shot coming up. 4-2. The score depends how much time they put back on the clock.
Should be at about 12 seconds. Oh, they went all the way to 14.
All right, so 14 seconds left. Newmarket is going to have.
They got to score on this, though.
They have to score on this
to have a chance, I think.
To have a chance. And they have to score quickly. So here we go.
Nice save.
Nice save there from Blair. Play is live, and that might do it. And here, the Toronto Bees ecstatic on the bench. They are going to win. Adam Place just slides the puck in, and they are going to win the Oshawa Showcase here. So after suffering the worst first-round loss on New Year's Day. They come all the way back to win it.
A Cinderella story, Dalton.
The Toronto Bees with a fantastic showing this afternoon, and they take the Oshawa Showcase here at the Tributes Community Center. The Newmarket Saints also out in the first round, an impressive showing from them. Couldn't close it out though. The Toronto Bees get their first 3 victories in 3HL history, and they win their first tournament here in Oshawa. And Ian, we saw, as you mentioned all day, it seemed like they made a conscious effort to make an adjustment in their play, and it was on full display, a more puck possession type game, and they were very impressive.
Yeah, I think this really is a prime example of how much it pays off when they change their philosophy completely from week 1 to week 2. Not only, with, like you said, with the puck possession, instead of trying to go for the home run balls all the time.
We're going to send it down to the check ceremony.
$7,000.
Thanks a lot, buddy. I told you last time it was not the fucking team we wanted.
There you go.
Good job, buddy. Congrats, eh? Congrats. You guys want to carry it around?
Oh, we're not going to carry it around.
Congrats to the Toronto Bees. Woo!
The Toronto Bees take this one. They are $7,000 richer. And we alluded to it before. Their puck possession was fantastic. And they were one of the Here we see the Toronto Bees with the check. Happy group of guys there. So the next stop for the 3HL Tour coming up Saturday, February 18th in Collingwood. On Sunday, March the 5th, we'll be in Guelph. Saturday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, Saugeen Shore. So that's the next 3 stops here on the 3HL Tour.
Is that actually happening, or is that supposed to be an April Fool's joke?
I guess we'll have to see. It's on the website apparently, so
I'm just kidding.
It appears it's going to happen. So that looks like it's it. That's it here from us at the Tributes Community Center. For Ian Duffy, I'm Dalton Finkbeiner. Thanks to JVI for helping us produce this broadcast. We will be here next time in Collingwood on February 18th. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the Oshawa Showcase by the 3HL Tour.